Buffalo Sabres in action again tonight. They are finishing up their Florida road trip at Tampa Bay. Following their win yesterday over the Panthers, are looking for the Florida sweep. Tonight, game time is at 7:30, and it is an ESPN Plus and Hulu game. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, that's going to be right here on WGR. Pre-game tonight will get underway at 6:30. Some other notes, head coach Lindy Ruff did join Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning. We got a bit of an update on Zach Benson, who left yesterday with an upper body injury, saying that the initial reports show that it is not as serious as they initially feared, but they're going to get more information today. And we also did get confirmation from the team that goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to miss the Olympics due to a lower body injury. And Sabres injury reports, they are brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Around the NHL, just 6 other games tonight. Some notable matchups to keep an eye on. At 7, the Hurricanes host the Senators. Also at 7:30, over on TNT and HBO, the Penguins are at the Islanders. Then at 10, also on HBO and TNT, the Ducks host the Seattle Kraken. Over in the NFL, the Giants do have their offensive coordinator in Matt Nagy. Nagy was most recently the offensive coordinator for Kansas City from 2023 until the end of this season. And then the Pro Bowl games are also going off tonight starting at 8 over on ESPN. Then in college hoops, UB men, they're on the road versus the undefeated 23rd ranked Miami of Ohio. Game time is at 6:30. That game can be heard over on the Bet 1520. At 6:30 as well, Niagara hosts Canisius in the Battle of the Bridge. That game will be over on AM 1400. And the Bonnies, they are in Dayton versus the Flyers. That game is at 7. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Raisin Bran? You got to put Raisin Bran up there. Everybody knows it.
It's Mike Schopp.
Listen, get your own stupid old dying person team and choose your own cereals.
And the Bulldog.
I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves.
That cereal is soggy. You reach into the fridge for the milk and open the lid on the milk to pour it in there, and that crap is already soggy.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
That's a problem. That's a problem for a cereal. I
Huge
think.
problem.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Well, sorry you weren't here for it, but I'll brief you. I would say that it would probably count all these years as one of the stranger conversations to walk away from as the show starts. Where is Mexico?
Yeah.
Where is Mexico? Where we left off the air.
They are represented by a pair of teams in something that I've only come to know even exists, called the Caribbean Baseball Classic. Is that what we're watching?
I think that could be right.
Okay. And you said it's kind of generous qualifying them as Caribbean. Are they actually in the Caribbean? And
that's not the Caribbean.
Yeah.
To me. But it's a huge country, and maybe it is technically.
And it's
whether like when you go, where do your friends go when they go to Mexico on vacation?
Cozumel.
Yeah, they go to Cancun, right? Like they go very western coast, probably some resort or something like that. Not real Mexico. Resort Mexico.
Right.
But that's not the Caribbean, is it? I mean, maybe Panama's in this. I'll have to. Is there some way to find out? Maybe there is a way to look at a map or something. Yeah. Maybe I'll have to do that. And I enjoy doing that, so that'll be good.
Panama, I believe, is below Mexico, though.
It's way down there.
Closer, yeah. I know because we were within, 30 or 40 miles of Panama one time when we were in Costa Rica.
Right. They're neighbors.
Yeah.
And then I think on the other end of Panama is Venezuela.
Venezuela is on the other continent.
South America.
Yeah, right.
I think that touches Panama.
Okay, sure.
That's that
might be where
end.
The canal is.
The Panama Canal.
Yeah. And Nicaragua's in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere, a little higher up.
Yeah, a little higher up, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might be Caribbean or Caribbean. Caribbean. I don't. Anyway, I feel like I say it both ways, just depending on what words are around it.
Like route and route.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. but I'm never referring to a different. It's always the same thing. I'm right. Like route and route are like pass route 62. Like these are different like uses.
What about Gilbert Perreault? Don't you say that more than one way? We need to get
I don't
through
know.
this
Yeah.
somehow.
Anyway, if they're not actually Caribbean, they're Caribbean adjacent enough for me not to balk at it.
It's probably fine.
Climate-wise,
really,
it's, whatever.
What is this tournament? Everybody agrees. What is this tournament without Mexico?
Right.
They have 2 teams out of 5.
I've said it 1,000 times.
There are 5 teams in the tournament. There are 2 of them.
My wife is just
Red and
like,
green.
will you stop talking about how Mexico needs to prop up the Caribbean Baseball Classic?
They'll work itself. They'll work it out. Okay.
Anyway, we're watching baseball.
I have a fun question.
Okay.
That isn't where is Mexico? It's even better. 8 games in the NHL tonight, including Buffalo, Tampa.
Okay.
You've seen the schedule?
I looked at it. I didn't study it. I noticed.
Why would you need to study it?
Well,
right.
They were at the time of the year where a lot of nights. It's funny. Last night I was so like plugged into the Sabre game that I didn't even think about any of the other games that were going on. And there, other teams were playing that mattered. Montreal was playing. Eventually, they played later. They played at 9 o'clock, I think, in Colorado, and won 2-0. Thanks, Colorado.
That's Detroit.
Oh, it was Detroit. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. But anyway, I didn't pay any attention to out of that. Yeah, Montreal went to overtime with somebody.
Minnesota.
And lost, yeah. But I looked tonight and I noticed Boston's not playing, and that was the only thing I think I really noticed.
All right. Here, I'm going to run this down for you quickly.
Okay.
I'm looking at FanDuel. You tell me who you think the biggest underdog in the league tonight is.
Okay.
I mean, how is this not going to be obvious? Columbus at New Jersey. Ottawa at Carolina. Washington at Philadelphia.
No.
Pittsburgh at the Islanders.
No.
Toronto at Edmonton. Seattle at Anaheim.
No.
Chicago at Columbus.
No.
Or that's tomorrow.
Okay.
And Buffalo, Tampa. So what is that? 7 games total, I guess it is. Who's the biggest underdog at FanDuel right now for tonight's slate?
The Sabres.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus 160.
All right.
Toronto comes close. Ottawa comes almost as close.
Are you there? What's Tage to get a hat trick?
I don't know.
That might get me back on the horse.
The Sabres are the biggest
on the horse in a while.
Underdog on the schedule tonight at plus 160. Bring it on.
Tampa is one of the rare teams in the league that's been. Their stretch isn't as long as Buffalo's, but they might be in the middle of like a 17-1-1 stretch or something, I think is what I saw like last night. Paul had it in his article previewing the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. I think 19 games they're on that kind of heater. And Buffalo is now, 21-4-1 or something, I think, in 26 games. We need to maybe stop with that eventually. But
I think that might be right.
I think that's right. I think they were 23-1 going into Saturday night and lost Saturday night to get a 4th loss and then won last night. So I think that's where they are. So, yeah, I mean, and Buffalo, I think tonight is really tough. I'm so glad they got those 2 points last night because, back-to-back is always tough. I think the lesser of the 2 goalies is playing. That could be tough. And they lost Benson, hopefully not long term. And the bench was pretty short a lot of the game. Like Lindy barely played. Roseanne played 3 minutes. Metza played 7 or 8 minutes, something like that. And there was another forward in there that was way down, below around 10 minutes maybe. So as the game is going on, and I'm seeing reference to this, Paul's saying this guy hasn't played in this long and whatever. I'm like, man, they got another game tomorrow night. This is a tough spot to be doing this, but we'll see. I mean, I don't want to say it quite feels like free roll because I didn't want just a split, right? I wanted more, but tonight it feels like they should be a big underdog tonight. As hot as they are, I just think they're in pretty tough.
Malenstein 804.
Okay, yeah.
Last night. Okay, but it's all with a smile on your face.
Yeah, no, right.
All of this.
I mean, if they lose, I'm not. Yeah, right. They got points. They avoided back-to-back losses, And yeah, I feel and really the manner in which they did it last night. I mean, they came out and they could have easily just gotten flattened 2-0. The goalie looked shaky at the start. Owen even said at one point, I swear this is Ellis in Lions gear. What is happening? Because he was just sort of scrambly there. Not even so much the goals, but it was just, he just looked off. But, man, he got it together, and they got it together, and just...
Well, the fans deserve it.
Went away.
So badly. And so do the players, and so do the people who work over there. Like, they all deserve this, to say the least. And it's just so much fun. And I'm taking a very laid-back approach to it. I heard some of the morning show, and they were enjoying the anxiety from last night, 2-0. And
Right.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
But it's been so long for me, for all of us, but everybody's different about this kind of thing. It's been so long since they've been even relevant. I mean, with the rare exception, a couple of seasons where it was a little bit close, or even 1 point, right? Mm-hmm. But this is way better than that. That team was never really good. It was just in it. It stayed in it.
Right.
But anyway, it's been so long since the Ryan Miller years when it was a habit. It was what we did recognizing this is not how everybody looks at this. But since they were really on your mind in a good way. And I'm so much older now than then that I just not, it's all good. I guess that's a short way of summing it up. It's just all good. And, they have a third of the season left and they don't have to be fine. That they don't, no team, you haven't clinched anything here yet. Like when we talk like this about them, I know there are fans who were like, don't jinx anything. And I'm just not I'm not worried about it. But I think, I was having fun the other night, Thursday, when the Sabres played the Kings, thinking about playoff beards.
I saw that. I saw the Twitter activity. Yes.
Yeah. And
really good.
Ranking all the players by their chances of growing a playoff beard, and how Alex Tuck already has a playoff beard. And it's not fair.
He's got a permanent playoff beard.
Yeah, he's got a permanent playoff beard. So that's not really fair. So he should have to shave 10 games left or something like this.
Or start over.
But you can't ask him about that. Paul can't go to Alex Tuck and be like, so what are your thoughts on what's your beard strategy? Right. You really can't raise the subject in the locker room. No.
Right.
You just can't.
And it may if they get an X, then right. Then
they all shave.
Then that's okay.
And they start over.
Right.
Maybe.
Then you can, or if he doesn't, then you can ask him. Like, hey, did you, because you're definitely in.
But you can't bring it up until.
No, you can't.
You can't even start down that road until they make it.
Yeah, that's right.
Think about Dahlin and Thompson, and they're not even the youngest guys here, and you almost can't even picture them with a beard.
No, I agree. And some of the the younger, Benson's got a mustache. Helenus, who was scratched last night, has a mustache. But I mean, it's scraggly, crappy. I'm trying to grow a mustache in the 6th grade guy mustache is what they kind of look like. And the idea of them trying to grow full beards is almost hilarious to me, because a lot of them. I mean, I don't know. They've been clean shaven the whole time. Power can grow a beard, but he doesn't. I've never seen a hint of facial hair on him. I don't even feel like I've even seen a shadow. I think he's clean shaven every game. He might shave right before the game. Might be one of his things. I don't know.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
Krebs, Byram. You mentioned Benson. The list goes on of guys where you don't even know what it would look like.
Right. Byram's had a little chin.
Quinn.
He's had some stuff. I feel like Byram. I don't think a lot of these guys are going to look good, but I think Byram. I feel like Byram is going to grow a beard. I don't remember what he did when he went on the run with Colorado his rookie year. Go back. Maybe I can find some video of them playing in the final and see what he had, if he had any kind of a beard. But that was also 6 years ago now. Or longer. I can't remember the year exactly, but it was quite a while ago. Anyway, maybe not that long, but
you don't want them being distracted by it.
Right.
Because if you've never had a beard and then suddenly you have
Right.
stubble and it's sort of itchy, like you might not like how that feels. And then you also don't want them to compound that to feel sort of like bad about themselves.
Embarrassed by
Right.
their beard quality.
Right. So maybe we should just go without.
Maybe they just lean into we're the worst beard team in playoff history. And just, that becomes a thing for them. I don't know. But they're going to be, I think they're going to be in tough. They're going to be in tough, I think, in that department. When they get there, I'm going to say.
Is it mandatory? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Think of like Sam Bennett.
Right.
And the last night's team, Ekblad and those guys with their beards. Like, just ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, Bennett is.
Well, maybe they won't make it.
Bennett is a kingpin. He's a lion king at this point in the playoff beard department. He gets a full thing going there.
So how far is everybody going with this? Are we? I know it's about to get interrupted. We're about to take a long break from the NHL, and too bad because this has just been a joyride for a couple of months here. But how far is everybody going with this? Like, are you trying not to be too confident or too optimistic or get accused of jinxing them? How hard a sell have the Sabres been for you? Like, I don't know. What was the game? It wasn't the first game of this streak. It wasn't Edmonton.
You know what game really got my attention? And I wasn't around to talk about it because I'm off. But the New Year's Eve game in Dallas really got my attention.
Okay.
Because it turned out my wife was working. I was home basically by myself watching a game on New Year's Eve. I know how sad. But I really sat with that game. And I happened to, Dallas. I've picked Dallas to win the cup a couple times recently. Like, I think they're that quality. They are to me one of the best teams in the league year over year, and this year's no exception. And the Sabres just handled them like a very professional road win. That was game 10 of the 10-game streak, as it turned out. The next game they played in Columbus on a Saturday afternoon, they lost, and so that was the end of the streak. But that game really got my attention more than any other game in the streak, and not because it was the 10th win in a row. They could have lost the night before and gone into Dallas and played that game, and I've been like, all right, I'm watching. This is impressive, and so for me, that was a game that that got my attention. It felt like this isn't the 10-game streak from whatever year we talked about it last week one day, the San Jose and Skinner in overtime and whatever. It wasn't a fluky streak, I didn't think. And Dallas was the best proof of that to me. So that's a lot of games to go now already. But that game stood out to me this season as I think I might want to start paying attention to this team. And they've done nothing since then to really dissuade you. I mean, they haven't been perfect. They haven't won every one of these games, obviously, that are on a 30-game win streak. But
close enough.
I think it feels really sticky. You weren't here Friday. I was very happy to have Travis Yost on. Disappointed that you weren't here for it, but that was mainly the thing I wanted to ask him was, how sticky is this?
Yeah, I heard the whole conversation, and he was very bullish on the whole thing.
Yeah,
that's a good guy to have on your side.
Yeah,
for trying to predict all this. It's almost eerie how the 05-06 comparisons have sounded and seemed, and unlike whatever year you're talking about, that Eichel team that won, it was 10 straight, like around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
I mean, still so early in the season too. 5-06 it took a while to happen, and I'm sure, the Sabres had some lean years post-Hasek. People were they weren't sure whether to buy in. In more ways than one, because that was sort of a restart for the whole league and the organization. Right. But you're used to a certain amount of losing, and like, wait a minute, is this actually like a real thing? And there was an Ottawa game, you'll remember, in that middle of the season where, all right, well, I guess maybe they can beat anybody. And by the time the playoffs came around, you'll remember this too. Like, I picked them.
Yep.
Like, I'm not afraid. I don't always win, but I am not afraid to. I like going with teams that I think get slighted. Any sport, any situation that I think gets slighted because of their history. because I don't think that has to mean anything. And it could even be a positive if you're motivated by it. Like if you're on the Sabres right now and you're inspired by the drought and the opportunity that you finally have, it can even come out, you can come out ahead versus a team that's just kind of there, been sitting there. You know, maybe that the Bills are at a point where they're not that team anymore. Mm-hmm. And so just everybody is going to be different, but it's very much like that, I think. And not everybody listening is going to be old enough even to remember that. 2006.
Yeah.
But it's like, all right, well, how much proof do you need? And they're not perfect, but who is? And you know how this sport works and how random it can be. And I just can't wait to see how it ends.
No.
I'm not rushing myself, but games are appointment TV now for me.
I looked at that season because of this point the other day. One day we were together, and I never got around to mentioning it, but they were like middling around like 500 in November, even maybe into December. There's a home game against Ottawa that is like the night that Miller at the morning skate like broke his thumb or something. He had like a hand injury at the morning skate, and they got drilled that night by Ottawa. Like 10-4 or something, right? Couple guys had hat tricks.
2 guys had 4.
Okay, thank you.
Right, who was it?
Havlat's the one I couldn't. Yeah, and
maybe Alfredson.
Alfredson is who
they
I
each
have in
had
my
4.
head. Yeah. So, and I remember thinking, like, my God, this team they're dead. Like Miller got hurt and they just folded. But that was around the time right after that is when Marty got on that run that he went on, Baran, and they got hot, and I don't remember, they didn't finish first that year because Ottawa had home ice advantage.
No,
in
but
that playoff series.
They got the 4.
Okay.
Ottawa was the 1.
Okay.
Carolina was the 2, and I think, and they were all really close.
Yeah. So it's a little like this year maybe it took a little longer for the switch to flip here, but they're striving for the same kind of place in the standings. Like I don't think they're going to catch Tampa, although I don't know if they beat them tonight. They'll be 3 points back of them with no games in hand. Tampa's actually played 2 fewer games than Buffalo.
It's funny
tonight, but
that they will meet 4 times.
Yeah, I know they haven't played yet. Yeah, right. So and they're done. They played 2 games already against Florida, so that they only have
3
or 3. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, right. But anyway, they're sort of fighting for the same place in the standings, is what I was going to say, as they ended up in 05-06. Like I don't think they're going to get to 1, but 2 or 3 is definitely in play. And I think that should be a goal, whether it ends up being Detroit or Montreal in that spot. I welcome a first-round series against either one of those teams.
Oh, baby.
Montreal would be super hot because I feel like we've seen that already manifest itself in what looks like it could be a really budding rivalry. I don't know about Detroit yet. If the matchup would be similar, but still get to that spot 2 or 3, and I like where you're sitting. All right, avoid having to play as a wild card one of the top teams there.
So good. So long overdue. But this is why it was so frustrating, maddening to not even get to February with life, because we know what we were missing. We knew what we were missing.
Right.
803-0550 for your calls. How are you consuming this Sabres season? Would you take a second-round loss? Ducking. Ducking. I already got my good questions in, and then I'm just throwing out a bad one. I would not.
Good for you.
I would not take a second-round loss. I want to live in the moment here and find out. Mm-hmm. And if they make it and lose, they made it.
Right.
And if they make it, and they might be capable of a run. So I'm a no to my question. So far in the poll, it's 1-0. No.
Okay.
Lines are open for your calls. Greg Wyshynski from ESPN will talk Sabres with us. That'll be at 5, not until 6:30 for the pregame show, Buffalo at Tampa Bay. Look forward to hearing from you. We'll get plenty of football in, some Bills thoughts, and the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. Of course, the Pro Bowl games Whatever that means now, whatever this incarnation of that is, that's tonight. It's got to be good if it's on a Tuesday night.
I disagree.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Let's go. Join us. Thanks for being with us here on WGR.
we talked about a lot of those guys. Shaheed with New Orleans, we were involved in that. And you're right, in division, we talked to one or two of those teams about their players. But at the end of the day, I know we had the strongest offer on one. I know that, but they ultimately decided not to pull the trigger, which maybe they decided it wasn't enough, or maybe they just decided they didn't want to send him in division.
Brandon Beane, reflecting on the season and specifically the trade deadline. I don't know. We talked about it a lot at the time and felt this way and made this point. We've had these conversations many times in different situations. I just don't think it sounds the way I think maybe Beane's instinct would like it to.
Right. You felt like that, was it Tom Pelissaro that had the details on Waddle, right? They wanted a 26 first rounder. The Bills offered a 27 first rounder, and that's why that trade didn't get made. That's the way that got reported, basically. And you felt that was the Bills trying to make themselves look good, and I get that. I always push back on it. Like, I don't want to believe that they're that wrong about something like that, that they think that helps, that Beane thinks that makes him look good. Because to me, it absolutely does not. You do not get credit in pro sports for trying to do a thing, especially when you drew attention to it yourself the way he did. Like, I was not going to give him any credit at all for almost trading for Jalen Waddle or anyone else for that matter. And I thought it was a bad look for them. But the continuing reference of it sort of leads me to your instincts were right, that it was them. They thought it would help them in the court of public opinion. And I don't know, maybe it did. Maybe some fans went like, well, I mean, what else can he do? He can't make them trade a guy to them, which is, factually correct.
I didn't hear a lot of that, though.
Yeah, me either. But I don't know. I don't want to be in a bubble and think everybody viewed it the way I did. I just know I felt very strongly that, dude, your instincts are off here because this does not help you. But they're still out there telling those stories.
Well,
and so
maybe in his defense, in this case, like talking about it after the season's over, unlike leaking it then, he can just be answering honestly.
It is different now than it was back in October. I agree.
And like if that's what happened, then that's what happened. And he doesn't have to have sort of a motive to try to spin. He can just be like, well, this is what we tried to do, and it didn't work out. But I mean, this is like Kevin Adams, how Adams got into a bad place from basically sounding like he was pleading with the fans to understand his challenges. And I think most people would understand them, but don't care.
Right. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, who wants to hear it? And if you can't execute in the job and you think it's because it's just unfairly hard, I'm going to get somebody else who's going to try.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it, let alone the guys on your own team. That was always my big point about Adams with the guys on the team. Like you're basically telling them you can't get guys to come here. Like, how does that make them feel about having signed for 5 years or 7 years or whatever it is that they've signed for? You're creating a situation where they might feel like they're captive, and that's not where you want to live. And yeah, is Josh Allen supposed to go, oh, good try, boss? Or, again, not to put words in Josh Allen's mouth, but like the guys on the team, I don't think want to really hear that you almost got a player that could have helped them win the Super Bowl. I don't know. It just doesn't really wash with me. But you're right. It's a good point. It is different now. Like you're sort of telling the story of the season, and that's different than in the moment. In the moment really bothered me.
It just doesn't have to be spin.
Because, right.
Most people would spin, but they're going to want you to know your version of it. And, you're not going to be like, I totally screwed up. Like, they're not going to talk like that.
Yeah.
But it can be true, right? Like
it can be, but the whole, I don't know, man. Like the whole thing, like all of it. The trade deadline, the parting of the ways that we sort of could forecast happening, like the split that seemed to be happening during the year between McDermott and Beane. And then, of course, it ends, the unceremonious firing, just not handled well. all of it in total still leaves me like, I don't know how much I trust their instincts, their ability to make the right calls, to read any situation, because that's why it bothers me that back in the fall he might have thought it would help him to tell Tom Pelissero we almost got Jalen Waddle. That's not good instincts to me. That's not good managing a situation, and you're in charge of the whole kingdom now. And that's a lot for someone who I'm going to say, like, his judgment, at least in that situation, I think is up to be questioned.
Well, what does the future look like then? Because, your head is spinning from all the different places the Bills at wide receiver have taken you in the last 2 years. Or back to Diggs, whatever the starting point is. They wanted a number one. They trade for Diggs. They win like crazy. He's great. They get tired of him. He's gone. Well, we don't really need that. So we're going to have a committee approach to wide receiver. But we're signing guys all the time. But we like our guys. But we would love to have Jalen Waddle. But, where are they, or where is Bean, I guess, specifically on the position? It might be, you could answer the question almost any way you want. I mean, if he really did try to get a big fish at the deadline, Waddle would count. Mm-hmm. Then that tells you a lot. And I don't know that why would he make it up? I probably want to believe that he made that effort. But they did score almost 30 points a game again. They fired their coach, who was known for his ability to coach defense, among other things. They promoted the offensive coordinator to the position. Are we sure they want to, seriously augment receiver this offseason? Can they? Or is it fine to them the way it was and is?
Yeah, I don't want to assume anything here. And not just because it, promotes more speculation and therefore conversation. The fact that he tried, or at least we believe he tried, he's saying again, he was close to a couple other things and they couldn't, whatever. I think he's talking about Waddle in the clip we just played without naming any names. It's a team in the division. I mean, okay, New England didn't have a receiver. I guess you could have been talking to the Jets about Garrett Wilson. Anyway, never heard anything about that.
And he was hurt.
Yeah, right. So, but I don't know. I wouldn't assume one or the other, that they think they can just keep going along the way with everything eats. The trying to get a guy the caliber of Waddle, or I heard something about Brian Thomas Jr. around the same time. I never heard Tom Pelissero reporting that, so that just sort of gets left behind. Tells you that he wanted to go big at the position. Those are players that either have or will have big contracts in the future. Waddle already has one. Brian Thomas Jr., probably if you're trading a first-round pick for him as part of the package to acquire him, you're thinking you're going to sign him when it's time. He's only finished year 2 of his rookie contract, so you got some time there. So maybe it's not a slam dunk. But either way, you went big game hunting. That should lead you to, well, they're going to try to finish that this during the spring. They're going to try to find that guy some way, somehow, whether that's free agency, whether that's a trade, whatever it is. But the fact that he tried to do it in the fall and couldn't tells you that he could try again and still not get the fish into the boat. So I don't assume that they're going to make that. I think they'll try, but I'm not sure that they'll get somebody. I guess so. The big morsel there probably is, I'm convinced they'll try again to get somebody significant. I don't think they'll go into a year with what are we talking about? It's Palmer contractually, Shakir, Coleman, reclamation project time for Coleman going into year 3 of his career. And that's it. Shavers has got an ACL injury. Davis has an ACL injury from the playoffs.
Cooks is a free agent.
You could maybe do that, but you probably need 3 guys just for your rotation. That's not to say who's going to play the most, but obviously if you get a player the caliber of Jalen Waddle, he's, I assume, going to play 80% of the snaps.
I guess who knows what they'll tell us. or what they'll do. But I guess I want my prediction to be that they will again continue as the team they've been under Brady, which is James Cook, right? And Allen's great, but we want that particular part of our identity to come out, and we don't feel like we have to have a wide receiver one that everybody agrees on. I mean, Brady kind of phased out Diggs when he was here. So do they go looking for someone like that? I guess I would bet against it. Also because it's hard to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, give Bean credit for Diggs. Like, he pulled that off. Not everybody makes that trade. He traded a one for Diggs, and more. So it's hard to do it anyway. And I've relied on this for 2 years, trying to imagine what their offensive approach will be. And I think I've been right, which is that they're going to try to live this way. And why would you promote your offensive coordinator if you really wanted to stray from that? Unless you think Sean McDermott had him under his thumb and just sort of forced it on Brady. I really don't. I mean, there's got to be some of that. So he was the boss, but I want to think that Brady's philosophy on offense has come out in these 2+ years, because it's weird if it hasn't. And they've been so successful. Is that despite him? Like, I doubt you promote him if you think it's despite him.
It's definitely not. I'm sure that's not the way they're viewing it, and I wouldn't either. I do wonder, though. He's the offensive coordinator, right, from week 11 of the season to the end. They make the decision to divest themselves of Diggs, and he's still the offensive coordinator, so he's got to make it work. Like, his job is to make that work. So I don't take that to mean that I know he doesn't want a number one receiver. What I know is he didn't have one, and he acted accordingly. They had a strong offensive line. They had Cook, and they leaned into that, and that probably suited his boss to some degree, like having the flex of having this running game, and it certainly suited them. I mean, they won a lot of football games because they had that run game. I've said it time and again. The Chiefs, who have been like floundering offensively, never developed one, and they missed the playoffs by 4 games. So it was to their benefit to have it, but I don't assume that Brady would not welcome and even want a top shelf talent at the position. Because I think a lot of what he does do, not so much the leaning into the run game, I think that was called for almost philosophically because of the way the league was reacting defensively. And I always kind of gave them credit for being ahead of the curve on that to some extent. Like they got there pretty early, that the big stuff down the field isn't working regardless of the personnel we have. Like, let's try something else. And they did, and it worked. But I'd like to see him with a Waddle or a Brian Thomas Jr. or, I don't know, some other big name, big ticket wide receiver, and see how that works in concert with having this run game that I hope, I'd assume you can reasonably keep on track if you switch out a couple of linemen, which they may have to do.
Good luck pulling it off. I mean, it does happen. It happened with Diggs when he came here. And you might need a player who's disgruntled for it to be even possible, because who's giving away those players? But, Thomas had a down year. Maybe they want to be done with him, but they're also really good, and he might be do you want to sell low on him if you're Jacksonville? Like, I don't know. I don't think I do.
Any reason that, that's a good point, but any reason they might have been shopping him in the fall is still going to, they've committed to Jacoby Myers now, who they got at the trade deadline. I don't think they knew if they were maybe they thought they could swap Myers in and not miss a beat, and that kind of happened. But now they've committed to him financially. They've got Hunter, who missed a lot of the year with an injury. And so I wonder, if they feel like they have a long-range future with Brian Thomas Jr.
It's interesting. Parker Washington was good.
One other reason I think I want to squeeze in here while we're on the subject, not that we won't revisit it 1,500 times between now and September.
I should make a tally.
But it's top of mind right now. One reason I like them to go big game hunting at receiver is I think Bean does care about how he is perceived. I think, I don't know if you read the latest piece from Tyler Dunn, but like the money quote in there that Tyler screenshotted around on social media with the curse words in it about how Bean saying how much like, I know the moving company's coming to my house if I miss on this or that. Like, I don't care about the outside noise. I feel like the man or woman, anyone in sports or anything for that matter, that tells you how much they loudly and with curse words to enhance it want to make sure you know they don't care about the outside noise.
Means
that person is usually, I don't want to say obsessed with it, but they're paying attention to the outside noise.
And I think
a lot.
I think Bean gives that away. Not that he would deny it necessarily, but I think he gives that away, like the press conference with Brady, referencing sort of random things that, some people say this, some people say this. So I think there's no question about that. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. Back after this timeout. This is WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life.
Welcome back. Lines are open at 803-0550. We have Greg Wyshynski lined up from ESPN at 5 today, and otherwise we are pretty open. We've got Sabres pregame, Buffalo at Tampa Bay starting at 6:30. Here's Rick next. Hi, Rick.
Good. How you guys doing today?
Good, Rick. Thanks for calling us.
Well, good. I just wanted to address the wide receiver, which I think we've needed for about 3 years for Josh. And, it's not always the 4-1, the 4-2 guy that can stretch the field. It's a guy that can run the precise patterns. You take Andre Reed, you take Jerry Rice. Maybe they weren't that quick in the 40-yard, and Steve Largent was another one, but they could run precise patterns and get open. I would take a 4-4, 4-5 guy that can run precise pads. Adelman was another one, rather than some guy that can burn the field at 4-1, 4-2.
Well, nobody's running 4-1, but Diggs is a great example. I mean, you had him here. He was not – he wasn't slow, but he was not elite fast. But he was a technician. Like his route running, his footwork, his handwork, everything was just top shelf. And that's how guys can create separation without having the super high-end speed to just run by you.
Absolutely. Were you thinking of Xavier Worthy at all listening to Rick?
I wasn't, but that's an example of someone whose major trait and most attractive trait was his speed.
1 touchdown this year for Worthy in 14 games. 42 catches.
Not so great.
No.
It did start. It started off better. I think his rookie year, I was still pretty worried about him, but maybe no reason to be.
What is that compared to Coleman?
It's not that far off.
It's pretty close.
And Coleman, I don't think, played in 14 games. Coleman played in, what did he play in? 13 games. Yeah, 38 catches, 4 touchdowns. 1 fewer game.
Since they're always going to be linked.
Right.
Thanks, Rick. We'll talk some more after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Buffalo Sabres still down in Florida. They'll finish out that road trip tonight at Tampa Bay. And following the win yesterday over the Panthers, they're looking for the Florida sweep. Tonight, though, the game is at 7:30 and is an ESPN Plus and Hulu game for television purposes. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, it's going to be right here on WGR. Pre-game tonight will get underway at 6:30. We do have some lineup notes courtesy of head coach Lindy Ruff from earlier today. He joined Jeremy and Joe. The update for Zach Benson is rather limited, but some good news after leaving yesterday with an upper body injury. The initial reports are that it is not as serious as they maybe would have feared. They'll get more information, though, later today. And then from the team, we did get confirmation that goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to miss the Olympics due to a lower body injury. And Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Doors. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Around the rest of the league, 6 other games tonight. Some notable matchups to keep an eye on. At 7, Hurricanes host the Senators. At 7:30, over on TNT and HBO, the Penguins are at the Islanders. Then at 10, also on HBO and TNT, the Ducks host the Seattle Kraken. To the NFL, the Giants have found their offensive coordinator, and they find him in Matt Nagy. Nagy was most recently the offensive coordinator for Kansas City from 2023 until the end of this season. And tonight, the Pro Bowl games get going just after 8 over on ESPN. And some action in college hoops. UB men, they're on the road versus the undefeated 23rd ranked Miami of Ohio. Game time is at 6:30. That game will be over on the Bet 1520. Also at 6:30, Niagara hosts Canisius in the Battle of the Bridge. That game will be over on AM 1400. And then the Bonnies, they're in Dayton versus the Flyers. That game will get going just after 7. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't love junior mints. I just don't hate them. I don't understand why they are treated like second-class candy.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Oh,
There's a
you don't
fantasy
understand why
team
a
name.
candy that is basically toothpaste wrapped up in stale chocolate is treated like a second-class candy. All right, I get it. It's a good, valid question.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Is there a time to change? You know, the 3 teams I've drafted this year, second-class candy is pretty good.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Can you believe I haven't drafted a team yet for next season?
I just assumed you already had a dozen or more.
You normally,
Yeah.
I'd be maybe around that kind of number, but I have not dabbled at all.
Scaling back? Is this intentional, or have you just
Somewhat.
found other things to occupy your brain and or time?
Somewhat intentional. It's a little bit financial, because even if you, like these best ball tournaments that are starting, even if you win, it's a year before you get it. Like it's
Right.
You're just putting your money over there
Yeah.
for like almost a year, and that doesn't really excite me as it had. And we do have the February fixed draft on Saturday night, which is like Sal and Joe and some other guys 10th year of it.
All right.
So that'll be a draft for next year. That's always fun. Who would you pick first? Come on, spill it. Let's hear it. What should I be thinking on Saturday night in this draft?
You honestly,
Cook?
after all this time, you really don't know how little of an idea I have as to who should be the first pick in a fantasy draft. Puka Nacua.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I like that idea.
I don't know.
Love it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It is not a thing. You know, you'd think after all this time, like knowing how you, I guess it's a part of the whole thing, I guess, is me not being prepared to answer. You might think I should be ready for it.
No.
Out there in the radio audience. So, Mike is going to ask you, Bulldog. He always does. Why aren't you ready? Because I don't care. I care about the show.
Well, that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like it's more on brand for me to not know.
I love when you don't know.
Yeah, so
I love when you don't have an answer.
I love not knowing things.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm so proud to not know things. That's where we're at as a society.
Puka over JSN?
The less you know. Used to be the more you know. Now it's the less you know.
The less you know.
Has some broadcast outlet taken that on as a slogan? The less you know.
Seems like a great day to start. Maybe we need it. Puka over JSN? You think the Seattle thing's fluky?
I don't know. Puka could be a little scary because you don't know for sure about Stafford. You're making a bet on that he's going to come back and play again, and that doesn't have to happen. It was just last off season that was questioned all through the summer. His back hurts.
Tell me about it.
Can he, so after all that, maybe, I don't know, they were close again, but he's 37 years old. I don't know. I could see him shutting it down, and then, you're in the wilderness. They're in. Oh, maybe Mac Jones can do the job for us. I don't know. They're going to be looking for another guy. That could really ding Puka. So JSN might be safer right now.
It's close, though. Tell me about it with Stafford. I never drafted him because it was in that van outside their facility getting some sort of mysterious treatment or something, and he might not play, and he's old. I drafted Nacua and Adams a lot, but I never drafted Stafford. He's going to win the MVP.
Yeah. Just
thought it was too risky, even when it was cheap. Just always liked somebody else more who could run. Just
how'd that work out?
What's my best case scenario with Matthew
Fields
Stafford
instead of Matthew Stafford?
Easily,
because he can run
easily.
Yep.
And that was good for a while. Let's go to Dennis next. Hello, Dennis.
Hey guys. So I have a long commute home. I've been listening to the whole show, and whenever there's a lot of different points in there about Brady and the offense and all of that. And Mike, you were saying, was he under McDermott's thumb, which is something that rattled around in my brain for a long time. And then after the hire happened, I was a little bit annoyed, but then that's the thought that kept happening was maybe he was just under McDermott's thumb. We'll see, and then, just a lot of other points in there. But then sometimes I also get back to thinking about the greater conversation, like you guys were mentioning about having a number one receiver and what he could do, what Brady could do with the number one. And it's hard to forget that he had Diggs here for 5 games that he was the offensive coordinator, and Diggs had the 5 worst games I think he's probably had. Well, one game was decent, but he was getting 20 yards, 30 yards a game, and that's with Brady as the offensive coordinator. And then Diggs shows his anger toward the whole thing, and I don't know if it's Brady, if it was McDermott, if it's the offense or whatever, but, he just had to leave. And so we had a number one, and we had to let it go. And then it seemed like everybody each started with Diggs here. Everybody each already started. So is that going to be the philosophy? Even if we go get a number one, are we going to use him as a number one? And that's a concern that I have is, do we know how to do that with this coordinator? And I guess we won't know, obviously, until the season starts, but that's where we find out if this offense was under McDermott's thumb or not.
Well, the first thing, thanks, Dennis, the first thing that will, lead us to that conclusion is whether they make that move. Because if they don't, then we're really nowhere different. We're at what it's been. And, I want to make sure I say whenever this conversation comes up, it's not hard to defend the Bills over these last X number of years and their offense. It's not hard to do it. I mean, maybe Bean got into more trouble just by his attitude that day than really what his point was. I mean, sure, you can say you can be on that team in that debate. So if they don't want to really significantly change that mix at receiver, or they just can't satisfactorily, then, well, you got your answer.
Right. If they can't, they'll sell it as that's what they wanted.
If they do it, though, then you're to Dennis's question, which is all right, well, do they know how to pull this off? Do they know how to maximize this? And I guess we'd have to wait to find out.
I understand the skepticism because the point about Diggs being here for that final stretch, he was phased out. And I don't know if that's, I really doubt that it's because they thought they saw the future. Like they were already preparing for a future without him, because you're trying to go win the Super Bowl there. Phasing out would be ridiculous. There was a vibe around the time. There was a narrative going around that his play had, broken down, that he wasn't as reliably getting open. And that's why the lean towards Shakir started developing or whatever. And I don't know, that all came after he was gone already, right, as a way to sort of explain it away. I don't think it's that hard. If you run the exact same offense that they rolled out there the last 2 seasons, but you have a guy that can win on the outside regularly, Joe Brady doesn't have to do anything. Josh Allen just has to find him and not bail on clean pockets because he can't find anyone open and extend plays and hope something's going to break open. It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, I really don't. It's not like some safe with a lock you can't crack the code for. If the guy wins, then you don't have to worry as much about how to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers.
Yeah, if you had Puka.
Yeah, because the guy's going to get open for you, and Allen's going to know that. And I might be oversimplifying it, but I definitely don't think it's that complicated. I would guess any offensive coordinator, Joe Brady included, who's now the head coach but also will be calling the plays, would hear that and go, guys, I have eyes. Whatever. It's not that hard. I'm gonna call a play. He's gonna get open. Josh's gonna throw it to him. That's it.
And I'll be really smart.
Right. Look how good I am.
Brian is next. Hello.
Hey, guys. I mean, one of the things that I'm trying to understand with this receiver debate that's endless is, how does Bean think that this is going to – his thinking, how did he think that this was going to help Josh Allen and ultimately win? When you're the GM of the franchise and you have the established franchise quarterback, in 9 years you take 8 receivers and 2 of them are the 4th round or higher, Coleman and Gabe Davis, and everyone else is a low-round pick. How else is that supposed to work? I mean, you're supposed to hit on Antonio Brown in the 6th round. So it's been since my line of demarcation is 2021 with Emmanuel Sanders. That's when we lowered our gaze and we started going with lower-end free agents. Emmanuel Sanders is remembered as this big-time player. No, he was out of gas after 7 games that year. And then every year since, I mean, you can go down the list. You can see, I mean, we just have never really resurfaced again when it comes to wide receiver. And so now you're at a point where you need 3 receivers on the roster. Now I think Bean's going to go draft 2 and go sign a high-end free agent. He has shown us consistently that he does not care about that position. And it's really, to me, one of the main reasons why you don't win. And so, I just don't understand his thought process and why he gets mad now. It's like, well, you've had 8 years of this. There's nobody in the pipeline. You have Shakir, and that's it. How does this happen on a roster with Josh Allen?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. I would tell you to keep in mind something I said last segment, near the end of last segment, is I think he cares a lot about how he's perceived and what the criticisms are. And that can be, walking out onto a lake you think is frozen. I'm saying it's foolproof to pay attention to the noise, but he might react the way you want simply because of how it's all unfolded. The spectacle he made about it last spring, how the season went, how the coach glowed about Jacoby Myers. I mean, I know Sean McDermott doesn't work there anymore, but all these things happened, right? So I think that points to Brandon Beane will want to at least appear as though he's making it right. He recognizes that maybe he left them, not maybe in his mind, maybe I left them short. Maybe I didn't do enough. The fact that he is public about having tried to trade for guys in October tells you that. So that doesn't mean he'll do it, but I'd be really surprised if they aren't connected to some kind of big idea at receiver.
Bud is next. Hello.
How you doing, guys? Thanks
Good.
for taking my call.
Sure.
Bulldog, going back to your point last hour, you had talked about a package possibly, and it's all just, throwing stuff out there, a first round and for a guy like Brian Thomas. I think with the needs the Bills potentially have on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line, could be linebacker potentially, depending on what the scheme is. To go out and take a stab at a guy like that if you really wanted to 2 years ago, you could have made a move and moved up, I want to say probably 7 or 8 picks before we traded back with Kansas City, and you could have went and got him. I'm hoping that it's not a knee-jerk reaction where the pendulum goes the other way, because this team has put up a lot of points the last couple of years. You're going to lose your second tight end, possibly 2 interior linemen, a good linebacker, Matt Milano, and some other stuff on defense. There's needs. So, to your point, in the last segment, you guys had brought up Keon Coleman in comparison with what Worthy did for Kansas City. I saw Josh Allen and Joe Brady. They looked pretty opposite of what their owner did. They didn't look like they were giving up on this kid. So, it's a lot to ask. He's not the guy who's going to open the field up. I know there's a need there. But you saw what a 32-year-old Brandon Cooks did. I wouldn't go throwing a first and a third or a first and a fourth for some guy who could be like Stephon Diggs was when he gets here.
Well, it's
you mean great?
Who right? Who'd want that? No, he went a long way. I mean, no idea about whether Brian Thomas is available or what he would cost. Like, I don't know. I doubt it would be like that because he hasn't done enough in the league, probably. And I think most teams anyway would rather draft somebody than make a gamble like that. So, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll get moved. Did you happen to see a tweet today with a picture of Ricky Williams?
I did not see any Ricky Williams, the former Saints and Miami Dolphins running back.
Yeah.
I don't remember where else he might have played. I think that was maybe it. Anyway, no, I did not see any Ricky Williams content today.
Williams play anywhere else? Maybe. I don't know. Can't think of any.
I think he went from New Orleans to Miami, and I think he retired as a Dolphin because he like lifestyle. Look how I'm using the word lifestyle there. He liked getting high a lot.
He played a
he
season.
Stopped playing football.
He played a season for Baltimore at the end.
Oh, okay. How about that?
I guess it's forgettable.
Why do you bring it up?
Well, there was some tweet about. There's a stat line of his, and it's the game where we did our first post-game show.
Oh, okay.
2003, Sunday night.
The Travis Henry option pass game.
Travis Henry, who, do you know his stats from that game, by the way?
0 for 1 passing.
0 for 1 with an interception. And he rushed 5 times for 7 yards.
Wow.
Did not catch either of his 2 targets. Wasn't his best game.
No, that doesn't sound good.
Ricky Williams, 42
carries.
For 153 and 1. That was the point of the tweet today. Like, somebody just grabbed that and, like, one of these, like, we used to be a society kind of tweets.
Yeah.
Where running backs would carry the ball 42 times.
Wow.
Thought I would.
That's a lot of work.
Bring that up.
No wonder the guy liked to smoke pot.
42 for 153 and 1 versus 5 for 7.
Wow.
In Williams versus Henry in that game. Long time ago.
Yeah.
September.
Was that a close game?
17-7. Okay. September 21st, 2003. The Bills' only points were on a pick six by Clements. They had 8 first downs. So it was not close. 17-7. Anyway, I thought you'd like that.
The Travis Henry intercepted option pass was in the Miami end zone, I believe.
Yep, I think so.
It was like a goal line play call.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah. Here is Ferris next. Hello.
Hey, guys. I'm just calling because I've been pondering over this whole coaching thing ever since it started and really thinking about the tenure of McDermott. And the one conclusion I can come to is the guy is a lot like Ron Rivera, which is who he studied under. And over the years, it seems like we've modeled everything over how kind of Carolina did things, and Beans from Carolina as well. And I just think back to that 1-15-1 season they had where they went to the Super Bowl, and I couldn't tell you one receiver they had on that team, but they had a decent tight end, and Greg Olsen, I think it was. And I think they just kind of have that mentality. And when I think about how McDermott told Bean he wasn't really happy with the roster he had and he lacked receiver, I'm wondering where that came from, because maybe at the beginning McDermott was like, hey, we're good with what we have. And then he's telling him, well, I need receivers, and I don't know where that power struggle kind of went. I'm not saying McDermott is the cause, but I just think we modeled a lot after how Carolina did things, and I'm hoping Joe Brady can kind of switch that and model after how LSU kind of did things with decent receivers and a high-octane offense without being really restricted.
Decent receivers.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Arguably two of the best receivers in this era were on that team. Good, decent. Oh, wow.
Well, he's not wrong.
Right.
These are two receivers, though, you would draft after Puka.
I guess, but they are guys that you would cut. I'll admit I thought of both of their names before I thought of Puka because they're just more familiar in that range in the fantasy space, I feel like.
Chase and Jefferson. But I quickly thought, well, hang on, I think it's probably Puka now. But it's an interesting presentation there. Like tracing your perception of the Bills not having really an appetite for great receivers to the Panthers. I don't know, like they would never say it that way, would they? That we don't want great receivers.
I mean, they did make the trade for Diggs in the first place.
They did.
Was, already, I mean, he ascended to higher heights once he got here, but a lot of that was that the Bills were like ascending at the same time, so it was just a perfect marriage. But they did go get that guy that kind of flies in the face of they thought they didn't need guys based on Carolina.
Don't forget about Amari Cooper, by the way, because he was a big one last year when trying to diagnose all this. Like, well, which is it? Did they not think they needed sort of a wide receiver one on their team? Well, they did trade for Amari Cooper. I bet they thought he was going to be that.
Yep.
And he just wasn't. He didn't have it anymore. So, yeah, it can get really sort of redundant, all of this stuff. Not that it isn't interesting, but it's so repetitive. But one thing that fuels it is you really could read, to an extent, you could read the situation just very different ways. And that's kind of what the last 15 minutes have sounded like to me, where are we sure they even really want a good wide receiver? Well, okay, I see why you say that, but they did this and this, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper, Diggs, there have been, they've taken their chances with certain guys that would easily qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really, it's case by case, I suppose. I think the biggest thing is that it goes without saying, it's not going to be easy to land whoever it is you're dreaming about, Brian Thomas or Waddle or whoever, that you think really changes this. I mean, Diggs happened, why? He was, very good, if not great, but he got pissy with them. Like he got frustrated and let it out. And Bean tells the story that he saw
a tweet and
social
called
media,
Minnesota, right?
And sort of went and traded for him.
Right.
So maybe you need that to happen. Maybe we need to start following all these receivers that we like, see if we can catch them in the act.
I hope that still all works the way it did back then, which is I don't need to actively go follow these people. It'll find its way to me, or I will find my way to it without searching.
Yes, it's going to have to do.
Look, I don't think I need Grok to help me or whatever that is.
For you and me both, that's going to have to be good enough.
If Grok is even a thing that you would use to help, I don't. I'll stop talking.
You don't really know what it is?
No, I really don't.
Let's take a break. Sports, and then we'll talk some more. 803-0550 is our number if you want in. 5 o'clock, Greg Wyshynski from ESPN on the Sabres. They're in Tampa tonight, 6:30 pregame here on WGR.
Buffalo Sabres finishing up their Florida road trip tonight at Tampa Bay. And following their win over the Panthers yesterday, they're looking for the Florida sweep. Game time tonight is at 7:30. It is, though, an ESPN Plus and Hulu game. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, it's going to be right here on WGR. Pre-game tonight will get underway at 6:30. Some other Sabres notes. Head coach Lindy Ruff did join Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning. We got a bit of an update on Zach Benson after he left yesterday's game with an upper body injury. Ruff said the initial reports is that it does not appear serious, but they will be getting more information later today. And then from the team, we did get confirmation that goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will miss the Olympics due to a lower body injury. And the Sabres injury report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Over in the NFL, the Giants do have their offensive coordinator. They hire Matt Nagy. Nagy most recently was the offensive coordinator for Kansas City from 2023 until the end of this season. And the Pro Bowl games get underway tonight at 8. That'll be over on ESPN. And in college hoops, UB men on the road versus undefeated 23rd-ranked Miami of Ohio. Game time is at 6:30. That'll be over on the Bet 1520. Also at 6:30, Niagara hosts Canisius in the Battle of the Bridge. That game will be over on AM 1400. And the Bonnies, they are in Dayton versus the Flyers. That game will get going just after 7 o'clock. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I have the faith in him. I have the confidence in him. I know like he can still be the player that I want, that we drafted, right? Like he's going to be a Buffalo Bill. And, I thought that was important for him to know because look, the reality is that maybe there was another head coach came in that didn't see the same value in him.
Joe Brady on Keon Coleman, Radio Row. It's all happening. That was with Jim Rome. Got some friends who are out there. It's a great time. It's been 20 years for us since going to the Super Bowl. Did you miss all the random C-list celebrities dropping by to see if you might have 15 minutes?
To help them promote some roll-on deodorant. Yeah, no, I don't. No, yeah, I don't. Surprisingly, don't miss it. Yeah, no. The way that I always liked expressing what my experience was, if not yours. At the 3 years that we were there, is that none of the people that we want to talk to us, and all the people who we don't want to talk to us. That's basically the chemistry, the equation that works out there. Like everyone wants the people everyone knows, so they're very selective, and the other people that are just circling the premises hoping to get your attention. Like, whatever.
Mostly.
We made our way, but it was not my favorite experience.
The meat market.
At all, yeah.
It's like being in high school again.
I enjoyed being away with you and Paul. Paul
Houston.
Once or twice? Just once. Houston.
We had...
Jacksonville was first, then Houston with Paul, and then you and I were in Detroit.
Jacksonville... you're mostly right, but we did get some great guests.
Yeah,
not everybody was too good for us.
No, that's right. That's right.
Jacksonville was the best week for that. I was there 2 other times previously. Jacksonville was the best. We had a female assistant that we hired for the week. I think she was maybe from Arizona, or maybe she was from Jacksonville. I don't know, but Andy hired her to do that job.
The book guest for
us. And everybody said yes to her.
Yeah.
we got everybody that week.
Right.
That was Montana, that was Romanowski, that was Chris Russo. That was
That's right.
We were loaded that week.
That's right.
Because they all said yes to her.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not at all saying we didn't get good people, like people that we were proud to have on our show on. It's just the experience of walking around trying to do that yourself, which we didn't have to do that year. The other years, like I'm just sort of scarred by the security around Warren Sapp.
Yeah,
like
right.
That experience of me like walking toward Warren Sapp, not noticing that there was a circle of security sort of loosely around him and it closing ranks on me when I got within 20 yards of him or something. It was just like, well, what am I doing here with my life?
It's really like you have to be pretty comfortable with who you are. Like in San Diego, before it was you and I remember, I can picture it, John Elway walking into the room. and having the thought, nope, no chance.
I'm not even going to bother.
I'm not even going to bother.
I'm not even going to try to talk to John Elway.
No chance.
He's going to look right through me.
Here he comes, and there he goes.
Yeah, I started to say, like, now at this time in my life, like I was very distracted. The one year my wife, I think, maybe was pregnant with our second son and was due around the time. I mean, Leo was born like 2 weeks after we got home, so it wasn't that close. But I remember being distracted about it. She's got a 1.5-year-old kid, or 2-year-old kid. Baby basically, and she's pregnant, and it's snowing, and it's winter, and like there's no I had a lot of anxiety being away for a week. Then now,
let's go
going to California with you or Paul or whatever. Like, yeah, can I bring my golf clubs? Like,
definitely,
I'm ready to go. She's half the time I'm home, she's asleep because she works nights. Like I wouldn't be missed.
The one thing we did have a conversation, 1 or 2 short conversations here, like within the last month, before the Bills lost, about that trip and how we might have gone had they made it. Hopefully we would have, but the challenge was the time zone. Like you want to play golf, but your show's noon to 4,
right?
And so when exactly are you playing golf? I mean,
no.
You play in the mornings working here, but
that's
it
hard.
Still gets dark at 6 o'clock.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right. Yeah, I did.
Wouldn't have been easy.
I did think about it and thought, like, it's not bring clubs because you're probably going to maybe squeeze in 9 holes somewhere, and maybe I'll just rent, whatever.
Maybe to Cypress Point though.
We would have found a way to get out one time for a little while before it got dark.
Yeah.
But you're right. The mornings would have been very hard to pull off.
Let's go to Dan here. Hi, Dan.
Hey, hi guys. How you doing?
Good, Dan. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. By the way, Ricky Williams between New Orleans and Miami played up here in Canada because he was suspended for a year.
Right.
Played for the Argos. Anyway, just how to protect Josh Allen. How do you? And there's obviously you want to get him great receivers, but I look at Joe Burrows and they got fantastic receivers there, but their offensive line don't protect them at all. And I think a good way to protect Josh Allen is the way they're doing them. Get a good running game, give him a better than average, good offensive line like they are, and rather than investing $50 million or $40 million or $60 million in 2 receivers. I mean, that goes a long way to give you a good offensive line. You can't have everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have everything. What do you think about having a very good running game like they have and giving them protection that way and giving them
Well, I think we just watched that. I really do. I think that's what these last 2 seasons have been. And like we've had pointed out here, Mike's pointed out numerous times just during this conversation today, like their results were still very high quality. But do you have enough protecting him? See, like Cincinnati is an interesting example because you're right. Although Burrow's got a bit of a rep for like hanging on too long, even though he's got these guys that should, win pretty easily and early for him. But their line leaves them in trouble. Well, they invested in 2 guys. I'm not asking you to invest in 2 guys. I'm asking you to invest in 1, right? Like, so sure, I don't love the timing. McGovern's up. Edwards is up. Torrance is due a new contract if they want to do it. That's the guts. That's the interior of your entire line. So re-sign one of those guys. I don't know if you want to kick the can down the road on Torrance or not. Maybe there's a way to do that and keep the number low. And one of those 2, Edwards or McGovern, gets replaced by Cedric Van Pran Granger or Alec Anderson or some other. Chase Lunt is a name I think Sal mentioned the other day.
Chase Lunt.
And
season.
You use that. So don't do Cincinnati's at the high end of, I think. Yeah, great. They kept those 3 guys together, but it's a lot to have invested in just that. So it's one of the reasons I never thought they would keep Higgins on top of committing to Chase and Burrow. I thought they would divest themselves and spend it elsewhere, like on their line. And maybe the Bills would have T. Higgins on their team. I don't know.
Or defense.
So you don't have to pay 2 guys. I think, Miami tried that too. They did that with Hill and Waddle. And I don't think that's smart. I don't think spending $50 million on 2 receivers is where I want to live. But spending $30 on 1, I can get behind.
Well, we are going to have another year of this.
Yep.
Nothing really changed. It didn't get fixed. We're going to have another year of this. I hope that in the minutes before Game 5 of the Sabres-Bruins series, we just get in, get out on wide receiver. Just get in, get out. Right. Just keep it short.
This is a second-round series you're forecasting?
This is the conference finals.
Okay.
Yep. Because, of course, during the first round, we'll talk about receivers only. Then a second round, a little bit of hockey.
Yeah, right.
Conference finals, mostly hockey with a little bit of wide receiver.
Right, because in a real hockey town, you don't start paying attention until you get to the conference finals anyway. The other stuff is just sort of like...
Whatever.
Conference semi-final. What are we doing here? Yeah, no.
Then you can be like the Bills of hockey and be like, was that even a good season?
Right.
Losing in the second round, is that even...
Right.
Was it worth it to have followed these last 100 games?
Now I have to go through an entire season and just wait for April to get here again.
Yeah. Kind of depressing.
I'm not ready to get all the way there yet. Figure.
We have Greg Wyshynski to talk hockey, unless you want to bust in. He's a Jet fan, maybe?
Yeah.
Bust into receivers with him?
I believe that's right, yeah.
Greg Wyshynski coming up at 5. It's an ESPN Plus game tonight. Of course, here on WGR, you can hear the Sabres broadcast. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 8:03:05:50. Pregame at 6:30 for Sabres Lightning. This is WGR. Earlier, a caller brought up the Carolina connection. The Bills and the Panthers, of course, wide-ranging. McDermott Bean mentioned Ron Rivera as a mentor to at least McDermott. And I thought of Cam Newton, who, by the way, Allen has been compared to Cam Newton. I'm not sure it has anything to do with where his coach used to work, but anyway, maybe a little bit. I have a card of the day prepared. You want to see it?
Sure.
I'll tweet it right now. A Cam Newton card.
Mostly I feel like that comparison is like a warning. It is always, because Newton was incredible, won the MVP, but it sort of went sideways pretty quickly on him. His health deteriorated because of how he played, and he took a lot of hits. And I feel like whenever that gets brought up, it's cautionary. Like you could, and so far so good. I mean, I feel like Allen is ahead of that already, but you don't know what his 30s are going to look like because he just turned 30.
Well, speaking of getting ahead of things, I was prepared with the card of the day. I took the picture already. It's on my phone, and there he is, Cam Newton, Bulldog, at Schopp Talk. You can see this glorious Cam Newton card.
Yeah, my Twitter's not updating. I don't see it yet. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. What in the world? This looks like Guy Lafleur.
Has anybody ever compared Cam Newton to Guy Lafleur by looks before right now?
Right. The hair is Guy Lafleur-esque.
The joke is it's not the same Cam Newton.
Right. Who are the Civics? Is this what is this? Is that a hockey card? Is that a basketball card? Is this guy a guard for the Sacramento Civics? The ABA or something? Like, who's Cam Newton here?
Who indeed is Cam Newton from the Civics? This would be, I don't know why I think this is so funny. This would be from the 1975-76 O-Pee-Chee World Hockey Association set.
Okay.
And the Civics, did you follow that league in those days at all? Not really?
No. I knew Bobby Hull left.
The NHL.
To go to the WHA, and Derek Sanderson, but I did not follow it.
This was the Ottawa Civics.
Okay.
A last place team in that season. They also were known as the Denver Spurs. So maybe they moved during the season.
Well, with this guy as their goalie, I can see why they were in last place.
Cam Newton.
I don't know why I'm making a judgment on him based on this headshot.
Their leading scorer was Muhsin Muhammad. No.
I get jokes.
76 WHA season, Winnipeg Jets win the Avco Cup.
Okay.
By sweeping the Houston Aeros. That's familiar to you, I'm sure.
Yes.
4 straight. They won the cup in Game 4, 9-1 was the final.
I have a Houston Aeros jersey.
Okay. Gordie Howe.
It's not a Gordie Howe jersey, but Gordie played there. Yeah, that's right.
Gordie Howe for the 75-76 Houston Aeros of the WHA, 102 points at age 47.
Well,
102 points at age 47.
Wasn't the NHL, but still.
It was not the NHL.
It's pretty good, though.
I mean, it's professional hockey.
Yeah.
Though. John Tonelli, by the way, an 18-year-old John Tonelli was on that team.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And Bobby Hull, who you mentioned, was the leading scorer for the Jets. 53 goals, 70 assists at age 37, which he probably thought was really cool, except for, Gordie over there,
right,
who's 10 years older,
right,
topping 100 points himself. Anyway, card of the day, not sponsored, and it's Cam Newton.
Bobby Hull is like $1 million. Like the WHA got it, they paid him $1 million, and it was like scandalous.
And then he left the NHL.
It's just so incredible.
So why didn't you follow it? You were not too young.
No, I mean there wasn't coverage. There was no internet. We didn't have a team.
Right.
So, if I got my hands on the Hockey News or Hockey Digest, maybe that's where I read about Bobby Hull being offered $1 million to go to this rival league. But they weren't on TV here. There was no watching it. There was no cable. There was nothing. The only way you were going to see it was if you had a team in your market and therefore the newspaper or the local media covered it, then you would have heard about it.
There was no national TV.
There was there was nothing. At least that I remember. I don't know. I can't speak with authority about, maybe it was on in Canada, on whatever. This wasn't the CBC, because I doubt CBC carried it because they were such partners with the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe some other outlet. I don't know. But I don't think I ever saw a game.
I've never known the answer to that either, actually, whether WHA were telecast, even in Canada. I don't know the answer either.
I imagine it was, but I don't know where. I never, ever saw a game.
You didn't see Cam Newton?
No.
Lace him up?
I never saw Cam.
He's a goalie.
Cam Guy Lafleur Newton.
That's why Bulldog guessed guard, because there's a G on the card.
Right.
What is this? Who is this? What is this?
I mean, I had ABA, so I had rival league to the NBA because I didn't recognize the team names.
That's right.
I was on track with the WHA to some extent. I mean, I don't know how lenient you want to be, but
There were, that season, 14 teams in the WHA, including the teams that moved to the NHL 3 or 4 years later. Whalers, Jets, Nordiques, and Oilers. Okay. They were the New England Whalers, not the Hartford Whalers yet. But the Arrows, the Calgary Cowboys, Toronto Toros, San Diego Mariners. I would have been here all day without coming up with that.
Was there an Indianapolis team?
Indianapolis Racers.
Gretzky played there. Or maybe not in the WHA, but like at some point. Maybe they were a junior outfit. I remember him playing for the Indianapolis Racers.
Sounds right. Coached by Jacques Demers.
Wow.
Not Gretzky. This season that we're talking about.
Right. Okay.
He was one of their coaches. They were good, apparently. All right. WHA talk. I mean, the Sabres, card of the day. The Sabres are that hot.
It's spilling over into long dormant rival leagues.
Yes.
That's where the conversation is taking us.
Spilled over is exactly how to put it. Greg Wyshynski after sports. Sabres and Lightning tonight, 6:30 pregame here on WGR.
The Buffalo Sabres are in action tonight and finishing up their Florida road trip at Tampa Bay. Game time is at 7:30, and for television purposes, it is an ESPN Plus and Hulu game. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, it's going to be right here on WGR. Pre-game tonight will get underway an hour before puck drop at 6:30. Some notes from this morning. Head coach Lindy Ruff did join Jeremy and Joe, gave a bit of an injury update on Zach Benson, who left yesterday with an upper body injury, saying that the initial report does not appear serious, but they're going to get more information as today goes on. And then the team did announce today that goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to miss the Olympics due to a lower body injury. And the Sabres injury report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Around the rest of the league, 6 other games tonight, some notable matchups to keep an eye on. At 7, the Hurricanes host the Senators, also at 7:30 over on TNT and HBO. The Penguins are at the Islanders, and then also at 10 to wrap up your night on HBO and TNT. The Ducks, they host the Seattle Kraken. To the NFL, the Giants have found their offensive coordinator in Matt Nagy. Nagy was most recently the OC for Kansas City from 2023 until the end of this season. And the Pro Bowl games, they get going tonight at 8, and it'll be over on ESPN. Then in college hoops, UB men are home versus the undefeated 23rd-ranked Miami of Ohio. That game is at 6:30. We'll be over on the Bet 1520. Also at 6:30, Niagara hosts Canisius in the Battle of the Bridge. That's going to be over on AM 1400. And the Bonnies, they are in Dayton versus the Flyers. That game will get underway just after 7 o'clock. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
You might be mocking me or you might be staunchly agreeing with me. I can't tell.
I'm mocking you.
And the Bulldog.
What is Fozzie Bear's role in this production?
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Well, I guess this is another time where I could be accused of, being a jinx. But I'm going to plow ahead and say, dare I say it, I think our relationship, our long-running connection and relationship with our guest, Greg Wyshynski, has entered a new area. The Sabres are good. I can't wait to hear if Greg's going to say it so directly. The Sabres are good. We've, of course, dreamed about, Greg, conversations with you where we could actually talk seriously about them and the playoffs. And I think now it seems like we can do that. Do you agree?
I would like to kind of whittle this down a little bit.
Okay.
To the Sabres are in a playoff spot, ensconced in one, in fact, and it's February. And this is probably the deepest into the season that we've spoken, where the Sabres are in a playoff seed. Now, are the Sabres good? I'm glad you asked this question, because I went a little deep into the numbers today because I knew that we would be talking about this.
Great.
And what I came back with kind of surprised me. If you take the time from the beginning of the season to December 8th, so the date right before their heater started, they were 8th in high danger chances per 60 minutes. Now they're 5th from the bottom.
Uh-oh.
They were 6th in expected goals. Now they're 20th. They were 8th in scoring chances. Now they're 18th. Now, 2 things have changed significantly for this team, despite the fact that under the hood, they were better analytically before the winning streak than after the winning streak. The first is that the goaltending has been insanely great, and Alex Lyon has the 4th best goal saved above expected since December 1st. And the other thing is that they are shooting the puck with more efficiency than they did before. Their shooting percentage at 5-on-5 has jumped by over 2%. And so they are scoring over a goal a game more, or almost a goal a game more, than they were at the beginning of the season. So I say all this. Are the Sabres good? I do think they're good, but more than good, I think they're lucky. And Billy Zane in Titanic once, it's better to be lucky than be good, or you make your own luck, I think he also said. And so for a franchise that's been cursed since Terry Pegula's first season as owner, let's celebrate luck. Let's be happy there's luck. Let's be happy the shooting percentage is as high as it is, and let's hope that it remains so.
Billy Zane got lucky when he jumped on that lifeboat. I know that, when he took a spot.
Well, you see, he made his own luck because he grabbed somebody's kid and then said, I have a child.
Yep.
And they let him in with the women and children.
Yeah. That's
so having your shooting percentage jump by over 2% is like grabbing a child on the Titanic and getting into the lifeboat with the women and children.
No. Well, this was unforeseen, Bulldog. I did not think. I thought we were safe. I thought we were safe to sort of celebrate what's happened, and we're not there yet exactly. So if we talked in November, you might have had good news for us.
Good things are coming, you might have said back in November.
No one saw this coming. But it is an interesting time. Look, they're an extremely fun team to watch. It reminds me of when Lindy had his good season in Jersey and the way that team played with such tenacity and offensive explosiveness. Like it was super fun to watch, and they are fun to watch right now. And obviously winning is a huge part of that, and winning as many games in a row as they do is part of that. But the best news for the Sabres isn't statistic. It's how the East is playing out. Like, if we are to believe, and the probabilities tell us that this is the case, that the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers are going to miss the playoffs, and those are the two teams that have been, like, owning two of the top three seeds in the division for the better part of the last 5 or 6 years, then the door is wide open for Buffalo to get into the playoffs this year, just by virtue of the fact of who's up and who's down in the division.
Yeah, and there's some separation, even if you go into Columbus or whoever else on the other side. There's a little bit of a gap there. Maybe it's not time yet to settle for that or to lean on that, but there is some space.
Yeah, they're 6 points clear of the nearest wild card that's not in a spot. That's Washington right now, is where they are. Greg, have you ever experienced in your, how hard do I want to go here, long and storied, highly decorated, critically acclaimed career, a team that fired a GM when the Sabres fired Kevin Adams that then got hot? We've all seen the coaching change heater that a team can get on. St. Louis did it back in 19, at the new year and went and won the cup. So we've seen the coaching, but the GM, like everyone who around town eventually will get around to like, what do you think happened? And I'm like, don't underestimate how dead inside everyone in the organization felt with Adams at the helm. I just think that is a huge factor. I can't prove it because, guys aren't going to pull me aside at a bar and tell me. But, man, I just think their reputation organizationally, I think guys on other teams were laughing at them. And that stopped. And, the winning has a lot to do with it. But I think they needed the breath of fresh air and then some that came with Adams being shown the door, because this is the team he built. Like, Jarmo has not really done anything fingerprint-wise yet. The kid line has had a moment or two, and, like, that was relatively fresh and wasn't something that was here. I mean, Adams drafted those players, but they weren't in the lineup regularly, like Osland and Helenius. Anyway, do you agree, like, the GM is, like, that was a huge factor, and is it unprecedented?
First off, I appreciate you talking about my critical acclaim. I was once named the 100th most powerful and influential person in hockey by the Hockey News on their list of 100 people, which meant it was kind of like when Carrot Top would make the top 100 in Entertainment Weekly. Like, they just needed some joke pick, and I was number 100 one year.
They got to suck you in, though, to that list with somebody right up front that's going to do it. 100.
That's right.
I know that guy.
A real shocker.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. First of all, it may be the new trend in the NHL because, like, Barry Trotz yesterday says he's stepping down as Nashville GM at the end of the season, and then they just, like, rally with 6 goals against St. Louis. Right. So it's like, maybe this is the way teams should go. They've been firing the wrong guy all these years. They've been firing coaches. They should be firing the GM. I don't know if it's coincidence. I don't know if it's a notion that maybe there's now somebody in place that's going to bring in reinforcements in a more aggressive way than Kevin was able to, or just like the confidence perspective changes when Kevin's no longer in that job. I don't know what it is. And I also wonder ultimately if Jarmo's been part of this organization and has been an advisor for a little bit now, like how long before people start assigning him with credit for some of the moves that Adams made? I don't know. I'm sure it'll happen.
Right.
I don't know if it's valid or not, but I'm sure it'll happen. But like, at the end of the day, I mean, you got to give it up for whoever built this roster because it's good. I mean, top two defensive pairings, good. A lot of the moves that were made. I mean, the return on the Peterka trade. Norris when he's healthy, like good. I mean, Alex Lyon, great. They're like there's a lot of things that have happened for this team from a transactional point of view that have certainly led to this moment where it looks like they're going to be a playoff team, and I think the lion's share of that credit, until proven otherwise, goes to Kevin Adams.
Even re-signing Zucker. Like signing him last year was sort of like, oh, is this like just this guy going to play out the string here? But he was very helpful for them last year in another non-playoff year, and he's been injured a bit, but he scored a big the game winner last night in the third period on the power play. Like he's been good for them. So that even that move is something that Adams should get credit for, I think.
Sure, and I think there is a certain. I don't know whether it was just like paralysis or what, but I mean the moves he didn't make as GM have kind of come back to help this team. I mean, not trading Zucker when his value was probably fairly high as a rental, for example, and some of the other guys that
Bo and Byram, I think they really wanted to move at the deadline and maybe even in the summer last year and couldn't find the right trade and didn't. And he's a part of that top four that is like, if they have a superpower, that's it, I think, those top four.
Well, I think, I think a lot of this is happy accidents just because of their inability to move some of these guys, but or find the right deal that they were comfortable with. But again, like it's all in the stew. It's all these ingredients come together to produce what we're seeing now, and what we're seeing now is clearly their best shot at making the playoffs in well over a decade.
I think paralysis is a fair way to describe it. I mean, we have this with the Bills now, Greg, like GMs talking about what they would like to be able to do, but can't figure out how to do. And, whether that's palm trees or whether that's, I wanted to offer a different year draft pick than they wanted for me. Like, okay, there's only so much that really does for you, I think. And there's, if this isn't just too narrative-y, it's definitely not analytics. Having those guys, the card they did play was they want to be here. That's easily Zucker. That's, not moving on Byram or Samuelson, right? He was in the crosshairs last year. And, maybe you have a team building exercise at work that is a team maybe ready to pounce when it gets that breath of life, if you will, from the GM change. So it's working.
And then and even before that, like Tuck is a guy that wanted to be here, and that was part of the narrative around his acquisition, at a time when, like you said, finding guys that wanted to buy in and be here was in short order. So, yeah, that's a big part of it. Of course, like it's going to be funny when they're good for a good stretch of time, and the fans all come back, and we're seeing people in LaFontaine jerseys jumping through flaming tables and stuff. Like it's going to be fun to revisit the conversations about like who wants to be here and who doesn't want to be here, because like ultimately a lot of these guys just want to be in a place where hockey matters and where the fans are engaged and where it's fun to play. And Buffalo's always had that potential. It's just a matter of being good, and if they're good for a few years, and then we're going to see that whole thing, revived.
With Greg Wyshynski of ESPN, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Well, I'm going to think a lot about how this conversation started, and maybe I pay some attention to the numbers. If it goes the other way and they start to lose, but they're actually, if we're down to judges, they'd get the nod, but on the scoreboard they don't. If it turns like that, I'll just be watching my family drive off with all my stuff. But the process, honey, the process. Just taking the kids, everything's going out the door. Yeah, but I was right.
They had a chance. Yeah, they had a chance for a TKO in the 12th, but they couldn't put it together, and now it goes to the scorecards. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here. I'm just saying that I did not know why they were good. And so I dove into the numbers, and I was really surprised to find what I found. And so I'm not saying it's a house of cards. Hell, I mean, some of these metrics could turn around themselves before the end of the season. Like, there's no reason that we should believe the shooting percentage is unsustainable, but also all of these other things are sustainable. It's just kind of startling that they've been on. They're the second best team in the league over the last 2 months, and a lot of the things that they've thrived at offensively, they did better before that streak. It's kind of, I mean, hockey doesn't make sense sometimes, but in this case, it was just sort of inexplicable to me.
Yeah. So it's a good thing they got as hot as they did when they did, Greg, because I don't think it holds true now because, another week has gone by. But during a national game, I think just last week, I saw on TNT that the 5 best records in the entire league from 2 days before Christmas, so December 23rd, were the top 5 teams in the Atlantic Division. Tampa, Detroit, Montreal, Buffalo, Boston had the 5 so they'd be down living with Toronto and Florida if they hadn't been as hot as they were, because the top end of the division just went insane.
Yeah. Well, the whole conference is insane. Like, I mean, I think at one point, I don't know if it still holds, but at one point, everybody except for the Rangers was over 500. And that's what makes it so intriguing, a team like Florida, who, like Barkov's back and skating for him. When does he come back? And if he comes back after the Olympic, now they're healthy and maybe they can make a run, except for the fact that the teams ahead of them have to start losing and no one is. Like, you look at the Islanders, for example, a team that I think many believe could be a little wobbly as far as their playoff chances, but when you have Ilya Sorokin as your goaltender, like, there's a floor. Like, you're not gonna bottom out because you've got one of the best goalies in the league. So it just becomes, like you said, it's a good thing they went on the heater when they did. And then you look over your shoulder at some of these other teams, and you wonder exactly when they start selling, because it's really challenging season to try to rally in this conference.
Appreciate the point you made about the fan base and the potential for hockey here. Were you maybe even at Yahoo the last time the Sabres were in the playoffs? It's 15 years ago. So I'm not sure of that. Bulldog's already referenced the storied career point.
I was running Puck Daddy last time they made the playoffs. I moved to ESPN in 2017, and I'll always remember that date because my first gig for them was covering the first game in Vegas. So that's how I remember my timeline at ESPN. But yeah, I was at Yahoo from 2008 through 2017. So yeah, I've covered a few postseasons, including, at other publications at the time where, if it weren't for a few unfortunate injury losses on defense in 2006, they probably would have a cup by now.
Yeah, that's right. The Sabres are in Tampa tonight. They've not played Tampa yet. That's one thing the Bulldogs stat about the records. These teams need to start playing each other more often to fix that. Buffalo at Tampa still have 4 meetings left with the Lightning starting in this game tonight. Are you on the air tonight, Greg?
I am not. I was actually down at the Stadium Series on Monday, or on Sunday rather, so I just traveled back.
Okay.
And let me tell you something right now. Like, as you guys know, it's been freezing in the Northeast for the better part of 2 months, and I was really looking forward to this trip down to Florida. And it was like walking into a sauna and it was 30 degrees instead. Like, I was fully prepared to have my body, feel good for a couple of days, and it wound up being like the coldest it's been in Tampa in like 100 years for this outdoor game. I felt really cheated.
I bet.
Yeah, I watched a lot of that game, Greg, and it was referenced numerous times in the run-up to the game and then during the game that they had to take some sort of precaution to heat the ice because it got too cold.
It got too cold in Tampa.
Right.
It was the morning of the Stadium Series game at 3:00 in the morning. There were snowflakes in Tampa. Like, that's not why you're going to Tampa in February, ladies and gentlemen. But the game itself was fun. It was probably one of the more fun outdoor games we've experienced, with the goalie fight and all that other stuff. Tampa's a really interesting team. I mean, again, the Sabres are catching a break tonight because they're going to be missing Cirelli, Point, and Nick Paul from their lineup. So it's a very diminished Lightning team. Plus, they're coming off the emotions of the Stadium Series game. But when they're at full strength, they're a real good team. They're real deep. They've fixed a lot of the depth problems that they've had since they won those back-to-back cups. And they probably have even more room for improvement at the trade deadline. So they're legit.
And they did get Hedman back in that Stadium Series game.
They got Hedman back, and Kucherov is our next NHL Awards Watch runs, I think, Thursday on ESPN. And I would not be surprised if Kucherov is in the top 3 and maybe even on top of the MVP race right now. He's been playing out of his mind for them for the last 2 months.
Bulldog and I share on a Lindy Ruff Jack Adams Award bet, and he is now the favorite.
Oh.
We were in at 7-1, and he's now the favorite as of today. But it just always made sense when I was brought into the group on this idea. Like, win in Buffalo, right? Nobody can remember that. It's got to be a coaching job. There's not so many big names. I mean, there's so many reasons why he seems like he'd be sort of a perfect Coach of the Year winner if the season continues this way.
In true Jack Adams tradition, the guy whose team is built on a foundation of insanely great goaltending wins the Jack Adams, and the guy who leads his team to like 130 points in Colorado doesn't win the Jack Adams because
they were supposed to be great anyways.
Right, yeah.
Jack Adams, the PDO award, best shooting percentage and save percentage combined is. And those coaches who win that award don't always last in those jobs for too long either. But we'll take the win if we get it.
Too. I mean, there is a bit of an SI curse going on, I think, with the Jack Adams Award if you look back at who's won it recently.
Greg, we got only a couple of minutes here, barely, and a little while until the trade deadline. Panarin seems like the big name being talked about right now. Is it all but a certainty that he will be traded, and what do you think that might look like?
Well, it better be in the next couple days, because or else the NHLPA might get involved as far as keeping a guy out of the lineup for a couple months or whatever it's been. He's going to be traded. I know that he would prefer to play in certain places, the Floridian teams, maybe Dallas, maybe LA. For a while, him and his representation have been looking for a contract extension to be part of this deal. There might be some wobbling on that now where he might consider maybe being a rental instead. If that's the case, then that could really open up the market to other teams. He's a special player. And the one team I've kept my eye on in this, and it's pertinent to Buffalo fans, is Carolina. Carolina is a team that has been big game hunting, whether it was Gensel or Rantanen.
Mm-hmm.
They're a team that I think knows, even though they're better offensively this year, that they need one more big offensive piece. And I know they've liked him a lot in the past. If he decides to be more of a rental, because I'm not sure if he's going to sign in Raleigh long term, I think Carolina could be really aggressive in trying to get him.
Excited for the Olympics?
Nervously, like I'm an American who right now is obsessed with the idea of us losing 2-1 in the third period to Slovakia or Finland, and the pressure of not only trying to win the first gold since 1980, but also the pressure of not embarrassing ourselves before we play Canada. It's like too much for our guys to handle and we lose. Like, that's my fear right now. But hopefully I'm wrong, because this team is loaded. This team should definitely win gold. And I think if they're at full capacity and healthy, they could beat Canada. But I mean, there's just a lot of pressure. It's a long road to get there, and I'm a little bit nervous right now.
Reasonable. Greg, always a great pleasure to have you on. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Greg Wyshynski of ESPN. ESPN Plus has tonight's game, Sabres and Lightning, pregame in just over an hour. Oh, okay. Right. And he said, I'm not Debbie Downer here, I'm just telling you.
That's been out. That's been out. I've been sort of blowing past that.
Well,
it's been written a few different places I've seen. Like the shooting percentage and the save percentage are both peaking.
Yeah.
Right now.
803-0550 for your thoughts. We talked a little bit about the Bills at wide receiver today. If you missed that, check it out on the Odyssey app, whether that's today's show or any show we've ever done.
Any show from history.
Ever.
Right.
Lines are open. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. This is WGR.
The Buffalo Sabres are wrapping up their Florida road trip tonight at Tampa Bay. Game time is at 7:30, and tonight is an ESPN Plus and Hulu game. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, it's going to be right here on WGR. Pre-game tonight is going to get underway in about an hour at 6:30. Some other notes about the Sabres from today. Head coach Lindy Ruff did join Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning. We got a bit of an injury update on Zach Benson after he left yesterday with an upper body injury. And Ruff went on to say that the initial reports from today appear to show that it's not too serious, but they're going to get more information as the day went on. And then the team also did confirm today that goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is set to miss the Olympics due to a lower body injury. And the Sabres Injury Report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Over in the NFL, the Giants have their offensive coordinator, and it is Matt Nagy. Nagy most recently was the offensive coordinator for Kansas City from 2023 until the end of this season. And the Pro Bowl games get underway tonight starting at 8. That'll be over on ESPN. And in college hoops, UB men, they are home versus the undefeated number 23 ranked Miami of Ohio. Game time's at 6:30. That'll be over on the Bet 1520. Also at 6:30, Niagara hosts Canisius in the Battle of the Bridge. That game will be over on AM 1400. And the Bonnies, they're in Dayton versus the Flyers. That game will tip off just after 7. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I'm not saying it's a house of cards. Hell, I mean, some of these metrics could turn around themselves before the end of the season. Like, there's no reason that we should believe the shooting percentage is unsustainable, but also all of these other things are sustainable. It's just kind of startling that they're the second best team in the league over the last 2 months. And a lot of the things that they've thrived at offensively, they did better before that streak. It's kind of, I mean, hockey doesn't make sense sometimes, but in this case, it was just sort of inexplicable to me.
Greg Wyshynski, what do you think? 803-0550. I want to ask you specifically about another thing he said. What he said about the GM change being a catalyst for this, because like you said in your question, that's kind of what everybody is wondering.
Right. How did this happen? This is that guy put this team together. That's factually undeniable. Like, that's exactly what he did. The draft picks, the trades, Peterka, Doan was – Kesselring was the guy they really targeted in that trade. Doan might be just kind of a happy accident. I mean, I believe they targeted him, but I don't know that they thought they'd be signing him to a 7-year, $7 million contract 3 months into his being a Sabre. But, I mean, it couldn't have gone better. And Kesselring's kind of been just mostly hurt. So good thing, Doan. But, yeah, he's – I mean, the picks are all – it's an entire Kevin Adams production. But, I mean, I've maintained – I mean, again, it's one of these things you can't – there is not a data point to support it other than they started winning as soon as it was even in the wind that might change. The first 3 games of that win streak were the tail end of that trip. They'd lost in Calgary and then went to Edmonton the next night and blew a third period 3-0 lead.
Yes.
Right?
In overtime.
And in painful fashion, too. Like 10 seconds into the third period, and then with barely a second to go in the third period, they got scored on, and there was one in between that made it 3-3. Anyway.
McDavid in both cases.
Right. And they got that game, came home. Adams was indeed fired. And, then they didn't lose for another 2 weeks. So, I mean, I think it failure to recognize that. I mean, if someone look, Adams should and I think will. I mean, I guess I'll see to it from my end of it. He will deserve credit however this ends, like however far they go, and if this is the start of this team being good for some run of years, he did build it.
Name on the cup, then that's what happens.
Yeah, I
don't know if that happens.
I don't know.
If they were,
I don't know how that works.
It's wild.
Yeah,
I'm a numbers guy. I don't need to tell you. And other teams that I don't care about in this situation, I'd be betting against them based on the numbers alone.
Mm-hmm.
I've won money lots of times with hockey, taking my chances on underdog playoff teams. Not every time, but like last year's Washington. Wasn't it last year? Was Washington like at the top last year?
Yeah, they had a great year.
They sucked.
Yeah.
So maybe they won a round, but they went out. Like, that's kind of what appeals to me, trying to predict hockey, is to bet on the teams that we think are lucky, or bet against the teams that we think are lucky, and those are the stats. I mean, some of these, I'm not, taking you any much further in this direction, by the way, just to, defend myself, I guess, but some of these goals that have gone in are almost laughable. Like a couple of goals in Toronto where they're not even shots, but they just bounce in and a lot of random stuff. That's what happens when you're hot. You get
Puck luck.
Those breaks. Yeah. And I said last night, the thing, having gone to the game on Saturday that they lost, the thing that would make me the most nervous about their chances in the playoffs is goaltending. Because this is another one that I think I know fairly well, is just how spiky it is for almost every goalie. Only a few are the exceptions where they're just consistently excellent year to year to year. And none of these guys has ever been that. Like, Luukkonen at best has had a good second half.
Had a half of one season.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So what's that? I mean, you get enough chances, everybody will give you that, kind of, in hockey. So what have I got? I do think, when he says, look, the metrics could turn in their favor, and that would be great. And that's the power play to me. Because they're still not that good there.
And that is, to me, a piece that you almost have to have firing at 25 to 30% when you get to the playoffs. Like, I know that's high, but like it's short. You get a power play goal a game, even. You're going to win. You're going to win rounds. I mean, I haven't looked at this in a long time, but I know, even going back, because I used to make this point back, kids, I know, 98, 99, it's a long time ago. Those years, they won 2 rounds in 98 and 3 in 99, obviously losing in the final. And each of those years, the series they won, their power play was roaring. And then when it got snuffed out, they lost. That was it. Now, that is, that's pretty entry level and not any kind of in-depth analysis. But along with goaltending, I would say they're going to need to find their way to a more consistent power play, a power play that can get hot enough that you can use it. Because 5-on-5, as good as they are 5-on-5, that gets harder. Like the scoring chances that they're getting, some of the goals they're getting right now, this is sort of to Greg's point. It's not directly related to shooting percentage and or save percentage, but you're just not going to get as many looks. It's just going to be harder. The games are going to be more like what the LA game was and what last night was than what the games against Montreal are. Now, if you get matched up with Montreal, then maybe that's fine, right? Maybe the way that you're playing doesn't change much. But probably, see, this is where I don't know really Detroit. I don't know what Detroit is. So I watched them get blown out the other afternoon against Colorado, Saturday afternoon that was. That's not a good indicator of like what they are, how they play. This is a game that they were down 2-0 early and they never were in the game. So style will matter to who they play, probably. But the power play needs to replace some of the 5-on-5 scoring that will probably start to get harder and harder once you get to the playoffs.
Sounds right. Sabres are at 18% for 19.8% on the power play this year. That is middle of the pack, 18th in the league.
What is the top power play in the league at?
31.
31.
Edmonton. Dallas is right below them, just near 30. Worst is 15. So you're
right in the
like
middle.
This.
Right. Yeah.
Edmonton, Dallas, Boston, the top 3. Pittsburgh is 4. Is Pittsburgh good? 28 and 26 is their record. 28, 15, and 11. 11 overtime points.
They're another team in the East they're 7-1-2 in their last 10. They've been on something of a heater here, but they've lost Letang. I saw in the same. I think he's been put on IR, but maybe he's back after the break here. But they won't have him Thursday when they play the Sabres. And Malkin was attached to that, but I've not seen if he's still playing or not. I'm not sure what his status is. But yeah, Pittsburgh is very surprising to me because I don't know what exactly changed there. I mean, obviously those big three are still there playing pretty big minutes. They made the goalie trade, but I thought that was the Spider-Man meme when they made that trade. But it's whatever, they're getting results.
Jerry for Skinner?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah.
They're 1-7 in shootouts, Pittsburgh, but still in the playoff spot. The Sabres are 3-0 in shootouts this year. And Jeff Skinner continues to never take a shootout attempt. Which, I don't know. Am I wrong? Wasn't that always really kind of weird and interesting when he was here? And I just felt like nobody cared about it. Did I miss the story on why their top goal scorer or one of their top goal scorers would literally never take a shootout? And it has been many years since he has taken a single shootout attempt. Mm-hmm. He's in San Jose now. Has not happened. Did not happen when he was with Edmonton, I think. I've got money on it. I should probably know for sure whether he took one last year, but anytime I looked, he hadn't.
Right.
I just need. The guy's played, 1,000 games? Can I have one where it's a long shootout just to find out if they're going to use, the backup goalie before they use him?
Right, if they get 10, 12 deep into a shootout, it'd be quite noticeable if he weren't chosen.
Is it in his contract?
I don't know.
It's a problem, isn't it? He's not a big goal scorer anymore. He has 6 goals this year. It's near the end for him, but it wasn't when he was here. And
no.
I don't know, why did anybody care about that? Anyway, so Joe is waiting for me to pay him. Joe's waiting for me to pay him on Tannehill.
You might have to give that up soon.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah. With Phillip Rivers coming back, if it was ever going to happen, this was the year.
Well, there are some needy teams, and there are not a lot of prospects. Is he retired or what?
Don't know.
I need one shootout attempt from Jeff Skinner. I don't even care if he makes it. If he scores, if he scores, great. Maybe he'll take a second one someday in his life.
But you don't need it.
Don't need it. And I need Ryan Tannehill to come back to football and start in a Super Bowl and win it. That's all. That's a tougher one. That's a tougher one.
Right. He's not been on a team in a few years now, where Skinner is still playing in San Jose at least. So you've got that shot.
Maybe Tannehill would have been an interesting backup for Drake May, for his old coach in New England, and then you get an injury like a sprained ankle, and then that's where Tannehill just sort of swoops in, and then watch out. But it's probably time enough that I pay off that bet because doesn't look good. There's a lot up there that's expired.
That's
on
right.
That bet board. Caleb Williams
was not benched in 2025.
Terry Pagula referring to Sean McDermott as, quote, the best coach in the NFL.
Yeah, that's got to go.
That's not going to happen now.
McDermott bottom 10 season on defense. That's got to go.
That's $100. That's over. Bean says wide receiver train. I guess that's still live.
I like our Jets playoff bet for 2030. That's still live.
That's you and me.
Yeah.
I like that one too. The home opener next year is a bet that the morning guys have. Who the Bills will play in their first game at the stadium. Who do we want it to be? You ready with that one yet?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm enjoying the hockey season too much. Dallas to extend Dak, Lamb, and Parsons. Well, that's over.
I think that's over.
Parsons got traded. I'm pretty sure that happened, right? And down at the bottom,
I didn't want to get to this
sneaky little $50 or 50 whatever.
Yeah, no, yes.
Will Belichick win another playoff game? And this was NFL playoff game, not a college playoff game.
Well, he doesn't say that, but spirit of it,
that was the spirit of it. And I'm on no. And I think I look pretty good there.
I liked that one, and we had Ross Tucker one time and asked Ross that question. So this is, I don't know if Belichick was out of New England yet. They were bad.
Mm-hmm.
So at least 2 years ago, that one. And I think Ross said yes, but he had to think about it. Like, that was one where it didn't feel like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And now I think I've got to be the underdog for sure. I mean, is he going to coach again in the league? Does anybody want him?
I just think no. I mean, we went through a cycle with 10 vacancies here, and
he wasn't interviewed.
A pretty disastrous first season at North Carolina, and I don't think, I never heard him attached to anything.
No. Same. Well, I'm in tough on a few of those bets up there. All right, well, nice to catch up with the bet board. Sabres and Lightning tonight in Tampa. Pre-game at 6:30. Lines are open at 803-0550. Talk some Super Bowl as we continue. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life.
Pointed out very early in today's show that at FanDuel, 7 games in the NHL tonight, the Sabres were the biggest betting underdog of all teams in action tonight. Not a huge dog, but it was plus 160 when I looked at it. A listener heard that and tweeted in that he or she got the Sabres this morning at plus 195.
Woo!
So maybe there was some interesting movement there, or I don't know how much volume is coming in on NHL games.
Yeah. This morning, I don't know. There was information circulating that wasn't that newsy to me about Cirelli and Point, yeah, still being out, but I having watched them on Sunday, assumed as much, but maybe that was news when Cooper said that. It was presented as such, the way I saw it in Twitter, so maybe the line moved a little once Tampa, because they're down. Those are centers. They're talking about Gensel maybe playing center tonight because they're so down on centers.
Plus 164 is the latest number. Sabres to win the game, and of course they will,
because they always win.
That's right. That's right. It's the barbershop in Pleasantville. What do you mean they can't win them all? They always win. They do win them all. What do you mean? What is that? What is that saying? You can't win them all. Yes, you can. We do. Looks like Soup Fest is over here at work.
It's all cleaned up.
It's all cleaned up.
Yeah.
Honored just to be considered.
Oh, that's nice. You did a good. I had a look. Yours was almost all gone by the time I got here. Yeah. There was only a little bit of it left, but I did get a couple of spoonfuls and enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Black bean chili.
I think it probably should have been called chili because I didn't mash. Like I could have used an immersion blender and sort of made the sauce, the broth thicker.
Right.
So it was really more like a chili than a soup, I think. Spicy black bean chili.
I liked it.
I wondered about writing, I told you this, the word vegetarian on the card. And the woman, they wanted all the handwriting to be the same, so nobody was supposed to know whose was whose.
Sure, okay.
So she said, tell me what it is. And I said, it's spicy black bean soup, which, by the way, it's vegetarian. And she's like, oh, good, I'll write that down. So people know that. And like, I thought, I'm not sure that helped me.
No, I don't think it did.
Like I asked a couple guys who they voted for, and they voted for this chicken and sausage soup that they like. And I might have liked that more too.
Yeah, right.
Because it had meat in it.
Yeah. That was all gone by the time I got here. I had something else that I was told was maybe one. But I don't think it's
chicken.
Yeah, chicken with like
red peppers.
Yeah. That was real nice. But yeah, vegetarian. Like I think even just in the back of your mind, you'd be like the way you judge it is going to change. Like this is good for vegetarian.
Right.
It's just, I'm sorry to be so judgmental, but I just think a lot of people, not everyone, a lot of people are a lot more comfortable and fluent in that whole world. But I think you tell me that, I'm gonna give it a, yeah, I like it. Because
I'm the same way.
My expectations are going to be much lower because it's vegetarian. But if you hadn't told me it was vegetarian, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have asked, okay, is there any meat in here? I mean, it was delicious.
Yeah, I didn't need to write it on the card. Because anybody who is vegetarian, if they dare to go to the soup contest, is going to ask everybody if they can eat it.
Right.
So you get your answer that way.
Were you the lone vegetarian entrant?
I think so. My wife is vegetarian, so I made it for one reason, because she would eat it. She loved it. That's what she told me.
Yeah, I think you got done dirty with it being mentioned. I don't know if you'd have won without it, but
no, I don't think I would have.
Yeah.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Sabres and Lightning pregame at 6:30. This is WGR.
We've got some Bills coaching news. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But first, the Sabres, as they wrap up their Florida road trip tonight at Tampa Bay. Game time is at 7:30, and tonight it is an ESPN Plus and Hulu game. So if you do want to listen to Dan Dunleavy and Rob Ray, it will be right here on WGR. But coming up in about a half hour, we'll have pregame at 6:30. Some other notes for the Sabres. We did get a Zach Benson injury update, courtesy of head coach Lindy Ruff, who joined Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning. And from Ruff, the initial reports for Benson are that he appears to have avoided a serious injury after leaving yesterday with an upper body issue. And then we also got confirmation today from the Sabres that goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is set to miss the Olympics due to a lower body injury. And the Sabres injury report, it is brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Around the rest of the NHL, we do have 6 other games tonight. Some notable matchups to keep an eye on. At 7, the Hurricanes host the Ottawa Senators. At 7:30, over on TNT and HBO, the Penguins are at the Islanders. Then at 10, to wrap up your evening, also on HBO and TNT, the Ducks host the Seattle Kraken. Now to the Bills. They have reportedly found their quarterback coach in Bo Hardegree. Hardegree served in the same role with the Tennessee Titans over the past 2 seasons. Some other notes in the NFL. The Giants have their offensive coordinator in Matt Nagy. Nagy was most recently the OC for Kansas City from 2023 until the end of this season. And the Pro Bowl games get underway tonight starting at 8. That'll be over on ESPN. And in college hoops, UB men, they are home versus the undefeated 23rd ranked Miami of Ohio. Game time is at 6:30. That'll be over on the Bet 1520. Also at 6:30, Niagara's Canisius in the Battle of the Bridge. That game will be over on AM 1400. And the Bonnies, they are in Dayton versus the Flyers. That game will tip off at 7. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Want to play a fun game?
No, I hate fun.
10, 11, 12.
You with your games.
16.
You and your hijinks.
This is kind of cool. I wish I could play this, but I'm looking at the answers.
I just said hijinks.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so you can't play. All right,
I can't play.
I'll play. I'm eager to play. I'm just being a jerk.
You guys can play.
Ooh, you guys.
If you want, team up. See how you do here.
I love a team.
Bet Online has, in all its greatness, again, come through with a list of bets for the Super Bowl, including what will be the first penalty of the game.
Ooh.
16 infractions are listed. How many can you name? How many penalties can you name? 16 possible answers that you can bet on, I guess, for what will be the first penalty of the Super Bowl.
Are like offensive holding and defensive holding different? Those are different penalties.
They are.
Okay, well, so I don't want those to be my first 2 guesses because I want to approach this methodically. So let's start with defenders, pass defenders. What can pass defenders be called for? Pass interference.
Plus 600. I'll give you the prices while you name them. Plus 600.
Defensive holding.
Plus 300. Twice as likely.
Illegal contact. Is that not listed?
It's not.
Because that's different than holding
and
interference.
It is.
It gets called.
It is. It's not listed.
It's got to be an oversight.
Yeah, like if it's illegal contact, nobody wins?
Yeah, I mean, that could be the first penalty of the game.
Easily.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Okay,
they'll add that to defensive holding or something.
Zach, am I done with pass defenders?
I mean, we're getting into like personal fouls, 15-yard penalties, that stuff. But yeah, I mean that's everybody.
Okay, well let's take care of that. Unnecessary roughness.
Plus 2,500.
Is defenseless receiver under that same? Personal fouls. Let's just maybe. Face mask. Is face mask
plus 1,600? Okay. Face mask.
I think that's a defenseless receiver. Did I already say that?
Mm-hmm. It's not on here.
Okay. I feel like we're done with pass defenders. Unless I
think that's right. I think that's right.
Okay. All right, let's move forward. Linebacker doesn't have to be that different than pass defender. So let's leave linebacker. Let's go up front. Neutral zone infraction.
Offside.
Okay.
Plus 500.
All right.
It's not listed
Defensive
separately.
offsides. Okay. Unnecessary roughness on the roughing the quarterback.
Roughing the passer. Plus
Roughing the
1,000.
passer. Okay.
10-1.
Hands to the face. That can be either offensive or defensive.
I don't see it.
Illegal hands to the face. Wow. They are not being very thorough here.
They're not buttoned up.
No.
I guess.
All right. Is there anything else up there, like roughing the passer, hands to the face, offsides? What else can a defensive lineman do? I think that might be it. So let's swing over to the other side of the
Tripping.
Let's go.
Tripping, kicking.
Tripping is correct.
Tripping, okay.
Plus 5,000.
Yeah. All right. What about the thing where a defender trying to bust up a run play goes low on the blocker and
hip drop.
You can't. No, not hip drop, but you can't take on the blocker below the knees. I don't know what that foul is called now exactly, but you know what I'm talking about. I've seen the Bills got called for it at least once this year.
This is a defensive play?
There's a defensive player where, say, Matt Milano is charging towards the ball carrier, and there's a blocker in his way, and he goes low to take the blocker out to allow his teammates to get to the ball carrier. You can't do that.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called now. So that's a tough one.
Clipping?
Clipping, yeah.
That's not clipping. That's clipping.
Yeah.
Clipping used to be a kick return penalty.
Yeah, like a block in the back almost I think is replaced clipping. I never hear clipping anymore.
That's another one I don't see.
Block in the back?
Yeah.
The first play of the game is going to be a kickoff. If it's returned, how do you not have block in the back?
I don't know.
That's brutal.
That was going to be my guess.
That would be the favorite.
Hip drop tackle is here though.
That's good at least.
That was said. Plus
Okay.
3,300.
Okay.
Well,
that will not be the first penalty of the Super Bowl.
I agree.
I like the number though.
It is, yeah.
Make it higher.
I love to lose, so maybe I'll put money on that. All right, I want to swing over to offense now. Offensive line. Okay, holding.
Plus 200.
False start.
Plus 160. That's the favorite. To be the first penalty.
Illegal formation.
Yes, plus 1,200. I like that price, actually. Get me to illegal formation for plus 1,200.
Ineligible man downfield.
Nah. Not listed. They're not calling that on Sunday. They don't want some of these to bog down the game.
All right.
Although that does get called. That penalty does
it
get called.
Yeah. And I already mentioned hands to the face. That's something offensive linemen could do, but it's not listed.
Some RPO and the guard is 3 yards upfield.
Right.
And
that's how that happens.
Pass.
Right. I think I feel
you
like
got most of them.
I feel like I've exhausted the offensive line
You're starting to get
possibilities.
like chop block and stuff
Right.
like that.
Chop block is
block.
listed.
Yeah, good. Chop block. That's
Plus 4,000.
It's like the offensive version of this defensive thing that's not listed.
You got all the hard ones. I think.
Intentional grounding.
Not listed. Why would some of these not be listed?
Offensive pass interference.
It just says pass interference.
Okay.
Plus 600.
Okay.
I gave you that one. The ones you didn't get, 1, 2, you probably should get one of these. You are forgetting one fairly common penalty. Not common, but it's only plus 500. Tied with offside.
Did you hear me say face mask?
Yeah, I gave you face mask.
Okay.
Plus 1,600.
I'm not looking at the list, all right? Don't be so harsh. I'm shook by the fact that we've missed something that's pretty common.
Yeah, you have. You even got horse collar, right?
I don't think we said horse collar.
No, you didn't say horse collar.
Zach said hip drop. And
horse collar is plus 5,000. Sorry, I messed up. And I do have the list in front of me, but I'm not making notes of which ones you've said. Horse collar tackle.
You do have the harder job. Keeping track of that is something I could. There's a reason we play the rules we play because I could never do that. I would never remember. I forget things that I've just said. I'm already asking.
What?
Did I say face mask?
What did you say?
Yeah, I gave you credit for face mask. Because I forgot.
There's at least two I'm sure you have not said.
Is it an offensive or defensive foul, or is it one that can be both?
I think it technically can be both. So I'm not going to give you that clue.
Okay.
Considered the fourth most likely first penalty of the Super Bowl is this. And the other one is plus 1,200, and it will definitely not be the first penalty. I think. It's nuts.
The one that's plus 1,200 is the leverage penalty on a field goal or PAT block, where the defensive player uses a teammate to boost himself up in the air. Is that plus 1,200?
No, but it's close.
Roughing the kicker.
Right. Roughing the kicker.
Okay.
Roughing the kicker is considered to have the same chance of being the first penalty as illegal formation.
Well, Juwan Taylor's not in the game, so I guess that's fair.
Right. He's the guy that gets flagged all the time. Although that's false start more. No, it's formation. That's
formation.
right. Yeah, because he's too far off
He's
the line.
lined up.
Right.
Yeah, that's a point of emphasis penalty.
Yeah. Boy, what's the one we're missing?
They want to call that early, too, so you don't keep doing it.
Yeah, they set the tone with that penalty.
Holding, pass interference, hands to the face, illegal contact.
You guys know your penalties.
I mean, I got 55 years of watching football. I don't know.
I'm stumped
I'm ready
now.
to go, Uncle. I don't know what we haven't said.
Delay of game.
Oh, for God's sake.
You didn't say that, right?
No, I never did.
They're not calling that in the Super Bowl. You're getting at least a second and a half on that.
Yeah. No, that's right. That is a very regular one.
But if the defense has 12 men on the field, I think that's called delay of game. Does that sound right?
Delay of game. Do they say maybe delay of game? Too many men on the field?
Maybe they do, but
yeah. But
I think it's a delay of game.
It's a delay
penalty.
of game penalty.
I think. It doesn't. I don't think it has its own special symbol. 12 men on the field.
Right. I think it is designated a delay of game, and then they'll clarify why.
Yeah.
12 men in the huddle. 12 men on the whatever. Yeah.
I agree on the block in the back being conspicuously absent here.
That's incredible.
I like illegal formation at plus 12. I don't hate face mask at plus 16. I don't hate it.
That's
pretty random,
that's
aggressive.
An opening kickoff nerves penalty that I could eat just as much block in the back. Well, not just as much. You get more block in the back flags than you do face masks on kickoffs. Face masks on kickoffs.
Do you think I can find out what the first penalty of each Bills Super Bowl was here as we talk? I'm kind of curious now.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Pro Football Reference will have the play-by-play, right?
Only going back so far, but for a Super Bowl, I want to think that 1990 they would have that. So I'm going there right now.
I think
Isn't this fun?
I think you should be able to find that. Like where I go for that, like they only go back into the 2000s.
Oh, by the way, I'm not 100% sure whether this means accepted penalty. You think it would? Or just any flag? Declined or accepted? Any flag?
Well, if a penalty is declined, it doesn't go in the book as a penalty, right?
Well, it's listed here in the play-by-play.
Oh, okay. The penalty was
flag
declined.
was thrown, but yes, it would still be the first penalty of Super Bowl 25 was Darryl Talley being offside on the Giants' first offensive play. Uh-oh. We're not ready.
Tone setter.
We're not ready.
Tell you, Marv.
How do you go offside on the first play?
Marv was too loose with those guys.
Man, I've always loved Darryl Talley.
I thought it for 50 years.
Now I'm starting to...
Doesn't line up time-wise, I know.
Don't go off... It was
intentionally absurd.
A stuff by Jeff Wright that was nullified by the Talley penalty.
Right, yeah, boy, what a big mistake.
So offside was the winner in Super Bowl 25.
All right.
Super Bowl 26, this would not be a penalty, but do you remember that they had the opening kickoff twice?
Yes.
They kicked it off, and then They were confused about whether TV was with them, so Jerry Markbright was the referee, and they kicked it over.
Right.
Jerry Seaman was the referee for the game in Tampa. Jerry Markbright in Minneapolis. The first, I'm not sure I know the other two. Red Cashin.
Who was, for some reason I have Art Monk returning that kick, but I don't remember him being a kick returner, but that's the name
I don't
have
either.
in my head.
It was a touchback.
Okay.
The first penalty of Super Bowl 26 was there a single penalty in Super Bowl 26? I've got Washington offensive holding early in the second quarter on an Ernest Biner run that was negated by that penalty. I don't see anything
prior to that.
Yeah. So one for offside.
Well, if you hadn't gotten there, I would have ready to tell you. I remember Andre Reed getting penalized for taking his helmet off
and spiking it
in the fourth quarter, I think.
Earlier,
wow.
Not subtle.
I
think before the half. Because I just left the play-by-play, but weren't they like driving and then they punted or something because of that penalty? Reed?
That was bad.
Now we're down on Talley and Reed. Did this have to happen?
Yeah.
Let's get to that hockey game. So, let's see. Pasadena. Now, this game starts with a block punt.
Right. Dallas's first possession is a block punt for the Bills.
Steve Tasker.
Yep.
The first penalty of that horrible game was a Kelly sack fumble recovered by Will Walford, play nullified. Dallas penalized half the distance for defensive holding. Larry Brown, and the Bills score 2 plays later. So that's
the possession after the block punt. They didn't score on the block punt. They took over and scored.
Right. Did I misspeak when we talked about that a minute ago, or no? Yeah, they did not score on the play.
No, I was just clarifying. You didn't say one way or the other. I just wanted to make it clear.
Okay. 1 for offside, 1 for offensive holding, 1 for defensive holding. And there's one more of these, as you know.
A 4th Super Bowl in a row.
Will we get 4 different calls? The drama. I know you're sitting in your driveway, dinner's ready, that your spouse is ready for you to walk in the door, but you've got to know first, what was the first penalty of Super Bowl 28?
I want a block in the back on the opening kickoff so bad I can taste it.
What you got was a 50-yard return on the opening kickoff by then Cowboy and future Bill.
Kevin Williams.
Correct, Kevin Williams. Dallas kicked a field goal. The Bills kicked a field goal. I don't have a penalty. Here we go. Dallas offensive holding. On a 3rd and 1, Darrell Johnston 1-yard run that was called back. And then Jeff Wright sacked Aikman on the next play, and Dallas punted. That first half was fun.
There's a 54-yard Christie field goal at the gun of the first half of that game. Is that right?
No, it's the first field goal was the long one.
Oh, I'm
for
sorry.
3-3.
I apologize. He didn't kick a field goal right before the half?
He did, but it was
shorter. Okay, all right.
What should they have done? They're up 10-6, and it's 4th and 7 from the 9. That's a field goal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly was a field goal then. I think it's a field goal now.
They were 1st and 10 at the 12 on that series.
If only.
No.
How different our lives could have been.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, so that was 2 for offensive holding, 1 for defensive holding, and 1 for offside. Those are your 4 first penalties of the Bills' Super Bowl appearances.
Did I ever tell you that we walked? There was a lot attached for me personally to this to that Super Bowl, the last Bills-Cowboys Super Bowl. I was saddled with a car payment that I could no longer. My lifestyle really did not afford me the opportunity to keep paying for this car. And we never got really close to doing it, but we joked around about how, if the Bills lose, they started losing. You want to get out from under this car? Put a bunch of Dallas stuff on it and leave it downtown somewhere, like Allentown. And maybe it'll get tipped over
What an idea.
or trashed, and like you'll get insurance.
Yikes.
We didn't do it, but we did go down. We did go to Allentown, and we went to the Old Pink. And the regular crew guys that I worked at the pizza place with, Santora's at Main and Union and Williamsville, it's like, I don't know, 4 or 6 of us go to the Pink. It's packed. As after the Bills lost a 4th consecutive Super Bowl. And it was the first time any of us, including myself, had ever heard the song Loser by Beck.
Oh, wow.
We walked in and this song is playing, and you know the song, and like, what is this song? This is like it felt like our walk-up at bat music.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, what
if you were the worst player.
And it lines up. Like, that record was pretty new enough that, like, I hadn't heard it yet. And that moment, and I one of my friends that was with me that night, that we hung out a lot back then. We rarely see one another, which is kind of sad. Just, was in my wedding. One of my best friends texted me just randomly, maybe after the Bills lost to the Broncos a couple Saturdays ago, like, do you remember walking into the Pink and hearing Loser for the first time after the Bills lost to the Cowboys? I'm like, you're damn right I remember. I'll never forget that.
Was it on randomly, or was somebody?
No, it was just, there was a DJ. My friend Eric was probably spinning songs there and just was playing what was new and contemporary and hot. And
But
I don't know if it was with intent, like, oh, we're a bunch of losers.
That's my question.
I don't know. I never asked. I don't even know if Eric was DJing there. He DJ'd for many, many years.
He didn't just play it on a loop by itself.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
It was like, just our timing was that we walked in as that was playing, and it was the first time I'd ever heard the song.
I love that song.
It's such an appropriate moment. Like, just, oh my God.
It's great.
It is a great song. Yeah. But to have never heard it before and hear it for the first time in that moment is indelible.
He followed it with Creep by Radiohead. Just to fit the occasion. Sabres and Lightning from Tampa. Pregame with Paul Hamilton after this. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.